Yep.
Going live.
Yep, we are live.
I can see ya. I'm just,
I should turn that down. It's a little loud. There we go. Oh, turning down the music. It was a little loud on my head. Hello, Blue. Good to see you there. We're just waiting for everyone to come in as is the norm.
and I've sent out the link.
Woohoo! I've also sent out the link. And now, my mic is a little quiet. I'm not sure how to put my mic up, actually. Because it's at the maximum that it can be. Are you sure that it's quiet? Or is the music just too loud? I'll turn the music down. There. That better? Just making sure. This is a tricky deal. Also, hello, M. Good to see you as well. Good to know.
Am I coming through?
I believe you are, but chat is... Yep.
Hello.
Hello. Good to see you, Isa.
I have many names.
Yes. Absolutely lovely. Okay. It is...
So actually, I've got the stream up and I'm not hearing it.
Well, keep in mind, Twitch automatically mutes videos when you open them.
I have unmuted it.
Weird. Shrug. Maybe you're just hearing it and me at the same time, so it's like you're not hearing things. It's canceling each other out.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing my voice out of it either.
Weird. But everyone else is hearing it, so that is fine? Question mark?
I mean, yes, except I would expect that I would hear it.
You'd think.
If I could hear the stream.
You'd think. Anyway, hello. It is now 12:30 officially, so hello. This is LaZodiac, and we are here doing a stream of Counterfeit Monkey, a text adventure sort of game that I was introduced to by my lovely girlfriend here, who may introduce herself as she wishes.
Hello.
Yeah, it's cool. It's word shapes, which is appropriate, actually, considering the game. I hope you're all ready. As is the usual spiel, we're doing this to raise money for top surgery for yours truly. but donation is not required. Hello, Soraya, rather. It's good to see ya. With that being said, well, I've never played it, so no spoilers. I think Miriam may have fallen off the internet. I don't know.
Hello? Testing.
Hello, I can hear you again.
I'm not sure what's going on. I'm trying to look at the stream, and it's not actually, it's frozen, which is weird.
Okay, that's strange.
But I guess I don't really need to watch it.
That is true. It is a text adventure, and I will be narrating the dialogue. So yeah, I will say, actually, I have played the first, maybe, like, hour of the game, just to, like, playing it together with Miriam here. So, let's begin. Why don't we? Can you hear me? Yes? Please answer yes or no. Yes, I can hear you fine. Good, you're conscious. We're conscious. I've heard urban legends about synthesis going wrong, one half person getting lost. Do you remember our name? No? To review, we're Alexandra now. I was Alex before the synthesis. You were... And, you might think that this is asking you to name yourself, but this is a game about manipulations of words. So, if they were Alex, we were Andra. Yes, okay. We're both here. Neither of us lost our minds in the synthesis process. As far as I can tell, the operation was a success. We're meant to be one person now, unrecognizable to anyone who knew us before. Neat. Ah. Yes. And then we have a big map. Counterfeit Monkey. A Removal by Emily Short. Release number 10. Neat. Let's try to get a look around. I haven't been able to run our body without your help.
Either nobody is saying anything in chat, or I can't see chat.
People are saying things in chat, you just can't see it.
Okay, that's,
this is Miriam and Kay, my girlfriend.
Hello. Oh, nope, now it's showing.
Okay, there we go.
Or at least I saw that one line.
Okay.
Hello, I'm QWERTY.
Yep, QWERTY is here.
Various other names.
Yep. Just trying to gauge what is comfortable, sorry. But yes, seems that Alex, the person... Yeah, it's not... Like I said, I told you this before, Knight. The idea is if QWERTY here was unable to do so, we would be doing the Power Rangers. But today but she was able to, so we're doing this interesting text adventure about the manipulation of words. So it seems that Alex, the other person who is combined with us at the moment, couldn't get our body to work. But now that we're awake, maybe it'll work better. Let's look around. This isn't much, is it? Just the backsides of a couple of buildings, some peeling yellow paint, and not even much by way of windows to look in through. I think the place where we had the procedure done is just a block or two away, but I've already lost the door. I imagine they change it. This alley runs north to the open street, towards the town square. That's the way we'll want to go first. Before we do that, let's, look self. Because this is a text adventure. This body is more you than me. Well, it would be, since we came out a girl. Still, I feel a bit odd inspecting us too closely. Feels like invading your privacy. Fair point. Go north. To Sigil Street, which you'll notice is somewhere on the, right here on the map. I don't know if you can see my mouse. I don't remember. Buildings here are 2 and 3 stories, with shops at ground level and elderly apartments above. The shops are closed for the holiday. A typographer's office, tourist boutiques of colorful skirts and ethnic bodices, rarely if ever worn by natives, and T-search covered with font designs. Passing by the reflective window, we catch the sight of our single blended body, and it creeps me out. Narrow alley runs between buildings to the south, while the street continues east. Look, skirts. I like skirts. Suitable for wearing while doing the traditional dances, which are slightly Spanish. Makes sense. Take skirt. I want a skirt. I said... Take skirts. Text adventures. Text adventures. It happens. Given what this game does, the text parser is a little tricky sometimes. Also, hello.
I think it's acceptable for it to be picky.
Absolutely. Also, hello, Soraya. I can read the chat. I am reading it. Hello. It's good to say hi to you. Though the colorful skirts are theoretically for sale, there's no one in the moment to sell them to us. Ah, that's a shame. Let's see here. Sure, why not? Steel skirts. It's not a... That's not a verb I recognize. Dang. No crime allowed. For the moment, anyway.
Oh, there will be plenty of crime allowed.
Absolutely. Can we see our inventory? Yes, we can. You insisted that we bring almost nothing into the synthesis room, so the criminal who was performing the synthesis couldn't rob us. I had hoped there was more honor among thieves, but you said no, there isn't. We are equipped with your R remover, an essential we mustn't part with. Now, if I recall, there was some dresses in the window, so let's look. Dresses. Okay, it just understood the look. Okay.
There are not dresses.
Okay. Right, yes. Look, tourist boutique. We peruse the offerings. Colorful skirts, font t-shirts, ethnic bodices, and a morning dress. I gather from your thoughts that you'd actually like some of the skirts, but I'd prefer we skip the cross-dressing for now. Our synthesized body may be female, but I'm still getting used to it. Which is fair. Also, since you brought that up, Blue, let's look R remover. R remover. It is a blunt-nosed plastic device about the size of a laser pointer that can be waved at things to remove excess Rs. It is not very powerful and often fails against large items. On the other hand, it has a wide range of actions. It can be set to any letter we choose. These are, if not exactly cheap, hardly unknown in Atlantis. So, it's called an R remover currently, but we can use it with any letter. Unfortunately, no, Soraya, because the way the remover works is that it removes all instances of the letter from the word. So, if we tried to remove T-shirt from the T from T-shirt, we'd get shirts, which isn't a thing. That being said, wave R remover. Well, actually, look, morning dress. A black vintage gown, trimmed with much lace and dripping with jet beads. That sounds pretty cool. I'm not sure if we can turn the skirts into skits. Let's try that.
I haven't tried that.
Let's try that. Remove R remover at skirts. Okay. Nope. It's yeah. Colorful skirts is the full word there. It's a little too tightly bound. So, there is another thing we can do, though. Wave R remover at morning dress.
No. Back up.
Right. It's U remover at morning dress. We smoothly and almost without thinking about it, reset your device to be a U remover. There's a smell of anise, and the morning dress turns into a morning dress, an outfit of striped trousers and fancy coat, which such as men sometimes wear to fancy weddings in the morning. And that's just a nice little proof of concept of how this thing goes. Take dress. There's though the morning dress is theoretically for sale, there is no one at the moment to sell it to us. Unfortunate.
Still on the other side of the window.
True. Yeah, don't worry. I won't be waving that you remove her at myself anytime soon. Let's look around. I forget what else is around here. Look, typographer's office. The office advertises custom fonts and symbols, though it is very unlikely that anyone decides to have a custom font made simply because they happen to catch a notice in the shop window. In honor of the holiday, there is also a display poster showing the form of a humble comma as it manifests itself in a variety of popular fonts. Neat. Take poster. We aren't superpowered. Okay, it's in the window, so that makes sense. Okay, now we do have goals, so let's think about our goals. Here's what we think we need to do. Get out of these back streets. Okay, let's...
That's not gonna work, Knight.
Unfortunately, no. Go east. The Ampersand Bend. A bend in the street which runs west and north. This district combines the old and the new. A small museum in an ancient stone building to the east, a shiny real estate office south. The window of the museum is currently displaying one of its exhibits, a codex. A temporary barrier blocks this empty street from the busy fair to the north, though there is a door that could be opened with the correct code. From here, the gaiety and excitement of the holidays are fairly loud. Soraya, you don't have to tell us what to do. We're going to look. Real estate. Office. It's okay. Advertisements in the window describe the offerings around town, from a studio apartment, looks like a fixer-upper in Deep Street, for a lot of money, to a house near the university for $2.5 million. Prices for villas in the northwestern part of town are all listed as just available on inquiry. And fair point, I didn't know that.
I think you can also type NWSE and such for walking in directions.
Yeah, I believe so. I can tell you find all that shockingly overpriced, but trust me, land is scarce on this island, and there are a lot of people who want to own it. Not just locals, but international corporations. Well, let's, look, museum. One of the several small museums around the older part of the island, celebrating the discovery of Atlantean language tools and the development of its modern society. This particular museum is housed in the stone building. Parts of the old medieval city wall are still visible in the foundations. All that can be seen of the exhibits is the external display window. On the other side of the protective tinted glass is a codex. The codex? What is in the codex? A manuscript of Atlantean origin from the 16th century. It records a series of slightly mad visions of a world that would be like if the composition of letters could be systematically exchanged. At that time, the name-driven nature of the universe was not yet understood, but some consciousness of it wiggled towards the surface like a breaking tooth. The lunatics were first to notice. I visited this museum before and seen the inside, by the way. Many of the pages are filled with what would now consider rather elementary rebus puzzles. Well, we can't really go inside because I imagine it's closed for the holidays. So let's look door. It's a high metal fence supported by sturdy poles, designed to contain the chaos a little and keep people who have come in for the fair from wandering off down the side streets and causing trouble in unpoliced areas of town. Has a code lock that opens the inset door. Look, code lock. Okay, I did that wrong.
You said code look.
Ah, dang it. Spelt it wrong. Get used to that. Look, code lock. The kind of lock that can be set to a 3-digit code, assuming one knows what the code is. Well, this seems like a predicament, because how would we know the code? Well,
This one's not that hard.
Yeah,
Come on.
this is the proof of concept, the tease to see, like, this is what we're going to get up to.
I mean, this isn't even the tutorial yet. I mean, it's sort of the tutorial, but
Yeah. Wave X remover at codex. We run our thumb over the dial, setting the device to an X remover. There is a daffodil yellow cloud, and the codex turns into a code, a bit of paper on which is written 305. Well, that's convenient. But there's more we can do here. Wave E remover at codex, at code. We reset the device to E. There's a mad scientist cackle, and the code turns into a cod. There's about 12 pounds of fish and chips in waiting here. It's actually materialized as fillets rather than the fish itself, which is an indication of how Atlanteans think about cod when they can get it. Overfishing, you know. Get cod. I would like some fish and chips. The display window is, unsurprisingly, not open to reach into.
that museum is going to be smelly.
Absolutely. Well, we do have the code, so, look, code lock.
Wait, is that... Yeah!
Wait, oh, that is a good idea, actually. Wave O remover at cod. We reset the device to O. There's a smell of anise, and the cod turns into a CD. To judge by the label, it is one of King Crimson's longer works. Hell yeah! Yeah! Ah, that rules. Okay. I didn't think about that.
I wonder if either of those will... I mean, probably not.
Wave
Probably not,
C remover at CD.
Nope.
Unfortunately, nothing is a D. Okay, let's...
Is anything a C? Probably not.
Yeah, let's try that out. D remover at CD. Nope, nothing is a C. Okay. Look, code lock. 305. Enter.
Set code lock.
Right. Set code lock to 305. We set the wheels of the code lock to 305. Click! The barrier door opens.
In
we go. To the fair. Today is Serial Comma Day, one of the biggest holidays on the island, and a time when half the police force is off duty while the other half is overextended. Perfect day to make an escape. The square at the center of town is therefore crowded with people, and there's an overpowering smell of artificial butter and spun sugar. We are surrounded by kiosks for spell-offs, face painting, a wheel to spin for prizes, and other activities best for small children or the very easily amused. The fair continues with a selection of carnival games to the west and an open park to the north and east. So, while we're here, score. And yes, I have finished the tutorial earlier. I do like how we can, at any time, look at what our score is. So, let's, look wheel. It's a sort of game where you spin the wheel for a prize. No one seems to be manning or using any more, though. Perhaps the supply of prizes has run out. And that's a shame. Okay, look, fair. I don't think that'd work, but yeah, let's try it. Wave L remover from wheel. Wave L remover at wheel. Why did I write it that way? Ah, unable to create a Wii. Wii. Okay. Look fair. Okay. Look kiosks. They're the usual tacky affairs of brightly painted fiberboard and cheap prizes. I don't see any likely to help us today, however. I don't think we can remove something from the fair. The fair is very large, and the letter remover is very small. It's not the most powerful thing in the world.
I don't know.
Let's give it a try. Eye remover at fair. Runtime problem P10. Since fair is not allowed the property seen, it is against the rules to try and use it. We reset the device to eye. The eye remover is powerless to make fair into anything but far, but perhaps this is to be expected considering the size of the target. The device is, after all, a mere portable device with limited resources. If we were to succeed in transforming the entire room, mercifully that's unlikely given the power requirements, but if we did succeed, you and I would be rendered inanimate along with any other hapless passers-by. So, this is pretty dangerous technology. Thankfully, we've just got a laser pointer.
I mean, try it. Try turning the fair into air.
Yeah, let's try.
Because that's at least a noun.
Yes.
It's probably going to be the same thing, then. Or not.
Wait, oh no! We reset the device to F. In a blink of an eye, fair ceases to exist, and we are part of it, and go also. I have always wondered what this last passage of non-existence might be like. It turns out that there is a rushing noise, and a tunnel we travel very rapidly towards darkness, and all around us are other objects, and it's in the middle of ceasing to be. Oh no! Help? That's what would happen if we had done something so foolish. So we suppose we didn't? Yes. I didn't know you could die in this. Oh, this is wonderful. Okay, let's not kill ourselves.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure there's more interesting ways to do it.
That is true. Yes. Much better than other...
This is a message for you turned something that includes yourself into not you.
Yes.
What if there's other ways?
That is a good question. Look, face paint. They're the usual tacky affair. Yeah, unfortunately we cannot get our face painted. Anyway, I need to remind myself of what's around here. Alright. Look, kiosks. Right, no, that's the other thing. Look, carnival games. I like games. The square at the center of town is crowded with people, and there's an overpowering smell of artificial butter and spun sugar. I wrote the wrong thing. Let's go west. Go west. Here in front of the pharmacy in the southwestern corner of the town square, various contests have been set up. A strongman hammering contest to see who can burst the most balloons using styrofoam dart plane, and so on. I assume you've noticed, though, the word balance, which comes up as high as our hip. On the right pan is an apple, on the left a pear. Beside the word balance is a barker in a blue suit, the same regulation blue used by the Bureau of Orthography. The barker is also carrying a tube. Put the beam out of alignment and win a fabulous prize, says the barker, holding up a tube. And it also tells you what questions come to mind. So,
Shall I take some of the voices? Or...
you can if you want. You can do the barker. We want...
Alright. I'll do other people dialogue.
Okay. Ask what the gel is worth. Actually, first, before... Look, gel. What is this gel? We can't get a good look at the tube from this position, but it definitely appears to be authentic restoration gel. Valuable stuff, I recall you saying. Or were you just trying to impress me? Here's a thought. Remember gel. Never mind. There are many ways that we can solve this puzzle. I'll be a little lenient on immediately jumping to suggestions here because I've done this part But I look forward to seeing where we go. And yeah, think gel. That might work. Okay, never mind.
I don't think that's gonna be.
Okay, just making sure. You just, like, had a thought. Okay. Ask what the gel is worth. Is the gel very valuable, we ask. Is it new and in good condition? Is the entire tube present?
Yes, of course, and absolute.
He says, making a gesture as though to show us the gel, but actually not letting us catch more than the label. The sun gleams off the shiny balance pans.
1 tube of restoration gel goes to the first person who can unbalance the word balance.
Ask whether the game is rigged. Which, I mean, this is a fair. We know it's rigged. I know this kind of game, we say, in our most jaded voice. The scale is probably nailed in place so that it can't tip. 1 or 2 of the crowd standing nearby seems impressed by this line of argument. A small boy whispers to his sister to ask whether that could be true.
Nonsense,
says the barker angrily. To demonstrate the point, he pushes down on the left pan, and the scales tip and sway. He soon restores them to balance, though.
And don't think that will count for you.
He adds.
You have to put them out of balance yourself. No surrogate substitutes or alternatives allowed.
Somewhere in the vicinity, a balloon pops loudly.
Put the beam out of alignment and win a fabulous prize,
says the barker, holding up a tube. Ask whether anyone ever wins. Does anyone ever win, we ask?
No one has won today.
He says, which is not an answer. The bell of
Step up and try your hand at the fabulous word balance. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. This is fun. Okay. Look, word balance. The beam is balanced. On the right pan is an apple, and on the left a pear. I'll keep that in mind, but I just want to make sure that I will keep that in mind, Soraya. Yes. So, look, pear. Handsome and green. Look, apple. Red-cheeked and rosy. That's cute.
It's a good apple.
Yes. Now,
and a good pen.
Now, there are a couple things that we can do here. And there's no such thing as efficiency. We're playing a text adventure. It's fine. I appreciate it, though, and I will keep that in mind for the future.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, there are a couple ways we can go about this. I'm going to do the one that I did when I first played. Use P remover on pear. We reset the device to P. We wave the P remover at the pear and produce an ear, severed, because after all, it would be beyond the parameters of the change to generate the person whose body part it is. It is only moderately gory, and most locals get used to seeing this kind of thing as a prank from 6-year-olds every Halloween. Still, it might startle a tourist. There is a disgusted gasp from the spectators. The word balance tilts slowly but inexorably. The barker looks astonished and displeased, except for a fraction of a second when he just noticeably winks. With exaggerated bad grace, hands us some restoration gel.
There's your prize, and now this contest is over.
He stalks away. Huzzah! We got some gel. Get gel.
Yep.
There isn't enough gel remaining in the little tube for us. Look, gel. Unfortunately, there's hardly any gel remaining in the tube. Unfortunate.
So, yes, pear could have been a P.
Yep.
Pear could have been an ear. Mm-hmm. Apple could have been an ale.
Yep, Knight mentioned that as well.
Probably other things.
There are probably a couple things that could be used here. Now, here's something that it took me far too long to realize myself. Use E remover on tube. We reset the device to E. There's a distinct spearmint flavor, and the tube turns into a tub. Now a handsome, giant-sized tub with restoration gel prominently emblazoned on the front. We just got a whole bunch of very useful stuff. Look, restoration gel. Now a handsome, giant-sized tub. Yes. So use gel on ear. We dip out a fingertip coating quantity of gel and rub it gently onto the ear. With an audible splort, the ear becomes a pearl! It is a small, slightly uneven, and pale blue in color. Not worth very much, but genuine. I'm starting to understand how you got into all the places you got into. Not that I judge you or your line of work, of course. Interesting. We just gotta... Look, pearl. It is small.
We now have jewelry. I mean, it's not a good pearl, but...
It is a pearl, though. The idea is that the gel returns it to whatever the original object is. I was expecting to get a pair. I was very surprised by it not to be a pair. Huh.
I'm not sure what the apple would be, but now I want to try.
Use gel on apple. Nothing happens.
It's just an apple. Now it is a slightly sticky apple.
Yes. Eat apple. I don't think our nausea makes eating such a great idea. Fair. Take apple. Mine. This is mine now. Also, in case you're curious, use gel on self. Fingertip dab of restoration gel isn't enough to undo the doubling up we experienced. But if we applied more, there's a real chance we'd come apart into a you and a me. And we can't afford that right now. So yeah, they do explain why we are able to use this stuff when we are currently 2 people smashed into 1 person. Look, pharmacy. Here in front of the pharmacy is the southwestern corner of the town square. Various contests have been set up. A strongman hammering contest. I spelt pharmacy wrong. Probably.
Yep.
Yep.
You had an E.
Yep.
In it.
Pharmacy with an A. There's not much to see, as a shade has been pulled down behind the glass front. I can tell you what's back there, though, if you care. The usual assortment of shampoo and razors, and analgesics and burn creams, candy, and also toothpaste, and a costly selection of homeopathic remedies in matching brown bottles. I don't think that would work. But sure.
I don't trust that wouldn't work.
The letter remover finds no S in ourselves.
We're Alexandra.
That is true. Alexandra. No S is there.
Is there anything else you could remove from that?
That's a good question.
No.
I don't think that's possible.
No, it's not gonna work.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Look. Hammer contest. It's one of those contests where you have to hammer something so that something else flies up and rings a bell. I don't have time for that kind of silly macho display. Look. Dart plane. Because what is a dart plane? Ridiculous little styrofoam gliders with dart noses. No use to us, anyway. That's fair. Let's, go north.
I mean, I'm curious whether they have a concept of an art plane. Or a dart plan.
That's a good point. Let's just deal with it.
Did we forget the pearl? What's inventory?
We have the pearl, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
This corner of the park, in the lee of the church, has been left free of kiosks and booths. Contrary to the usual rules of cathedral layout, the new church is oriented towards the north, so we are standing by the flank of the building, though there is an entrance on this side. South and east lead to more of the park. There is a small cinema where I left my pack to the north, and the entrance to the new church is west. And I did take the pearl. Inventory. We are also carrying an apple and a pearl. We reset the device to P, the pearl flickers, and there is a brief image of an Earl in its place, but a legal override kicks in. A P remover is hardware crippled to prevent generating any living creature. Also, hello, Ninja Prawn. Good to see ya.
We are not permitted to generate feudalism.
Yep, no
from Jordan.
Yep, copy protection. Not allowed. And I hope you enjoy. Now, let's see here. Go church. Yep, that is correct. Copy protection. Not a Gothic cathedral from the era when the church was wealthy and secure, but a gallant neoclassical response to the turmoil of the 18th century, when the power of language was just beginning to be evident, and instead of an immutable cosmology, we suddenly had observer consensus reality. What is the need of use of God if it turns out that he gave all of the power of creation to Adam, and then he let him name the animals? The inscription above the altar, picked out in gold and paint, reads, "Cannot speak Greek." My mother volunteers here. I think I should warn you. She is not quite religious, but believes in the cultural value of the building and in having some sort of place where people can go for spiritual respite. She also, I suspect, likes having those great gold letters, defiantly foreign and arcane, in the heart of the old city. Let's see. Look. Letters. Okay. Nope, did not understand that. Look, gold. Look, inscription. That's what I probably need. It means, in the beginning was the Word. Apache attempt to make theology align with scientific and linguistic reality, but it still has power, and despite the Bureau's depredations of foreign language writings everywhere else, they have never quite had the nerve to deface this. Neat.
I think something is wrong with the font.
Yeah,
for the Greek.
Yeah, the Greek is a little...
It's using two different fonts for some reason. That's weird.
Yeah, the Greek is a little oopsed up.
I mean, I wonder if you could remove one of the Greek letters, but I don't read Greek to have any idea if that would, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
Anything.
Yeah, I don't know Greek, and I cannot make Greek symbols on my keyboard, so I don't think that'd work.
Oh, I can type them and paste and send them so you can paste them. If we can think of any time that it would be useful, but I can't.
Well, we will keep that in mind for the future. Okay, look, gift shop. I like gift shops.
But I mean, that's an inscription, so, like, removing a letter from the inscription would just mess up the writing.
That is true.
That's not helpful.
Yeah, just mean. You can't really see it from here. I just know that it is back there from previous visits, though decently screened from the main body of the church. Thank you. I did not know that, Soraya. So, go gift shop. This area used to be a sort of antechamber where the priests and choir might gather for processions into the church, but it has now been done over for retail purposes.
There's an achievement for... I mean, sure, I guess. I don't...
Well, text adventures can be weird.
There's at least some parts of the game that you could definitely get through without needing to go in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There are alternate routes to everything I can think of, but I'm just, like, why that in particular?
Good question. Maybe we'll find out. This is one of several schemes. That is true. This is one of several.
We could try not, but
we'll see. We'll see. This is one of several schemes to make the new church pay for its own upkeep. A problem is that people somehow feel everything associated with the church ought to be free, including lunchtime concerts, potluck suppers, and Thursday night lecture sessions. The elderly man in charge of the gift shop nods at us as we come in. A long line of dusty tomes are lined up on one of the shelves marked "Free for taking." None are missing. Ask what is worth seeing. So, tell me, what should I be looking for in the new church, we ask?
Other than God?
He asks dryly.
Yeah, no, that's a point.
The volunteers weren't very well trained, or are they? I was expecting something about the points of architectural interest. Ask about architectural interest. Are there points of architectural interest about the church? We persist.
Not that I know of.
The voice quavers.
Could I interest you in the purchase of a souvenir tea towel, or a shot glass, or perhaps a paper model of the church?
I'd like to decline to buy trashy souvenirs. I agree. Decline to buy trashy souvenirs. Thank you, but no, we say firmly. He gives a resigned what can you do shrug. So let's look at those tomes. Tomes. Looking at one gives a sense of all. Extremely dusty, learned, and virtuous, such that I have almost fallen asleep just looking at it. It is nothing so ribald as the Bible, or even a hymnal or order of service. It appears rather to be a selection of sermons of the 18th century, from a period when it was considered somehow exciting to sit through a 3-hour discourse on theology. Take tomes. The full set runs at 30 or 40 volumes, each one 3 inches thick and printed on heavy paper. They're much too bulky to carry off. Yeah, 3 hours is a bit much. Wave
40 books of sermons.
Yeah. Wave M remover. Forgot the hyphen. We reset the device to M. We wave the M remover at the tomes and produce some toes. Severed. You broke it, you buy it, says the volunteer. Though the tomes were free. Please at least take your mess away with you when you leave. Ah, sorry, you were supposed to read those. But yeah, oops, we have made a bunch of toes. Wave S remover at toes. We reset the device to S. We wave the S remover at the toes and produce a toe. Severed.
I hope you're planning to clean that up.
He comments.
I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place with accents.
It's fine, it's fine. And don't worry, this isn't defiling such troves of theological knowledge. This is to ensure that we can take it with us. Take toe. We take the toe. It looks a little toe raggedly cut off with a bread knife. It wasn't, of course. And we do have that tub of restoration gel, so we can fix this in the future. Now, when I was playing this for the first time, I turned multiple tomes into one tome. I hadn't thought that you could make these into toes, which is crazy. You can make a lot of body parts in this game, if we're being honest. So by the end of this game, we're going to make a whole new body, probably. Now then,
I'm not sure how you could make a leg.
That's a good point. Well, we would need a keg in some way to change the first letter of a word. Lego could work as well. That's a good point. South. Ah, there is no door in that direction. Okay, north. Let's go west. One might expect a graveyard, but burial inside the city walls has been forbidden for sanitation reasons, since well before the new church was built. Instead, there is a small meditation garden, which was once designed as an intricate knotwork of shrubs. The knotwork has since grown into a thicket. Look, thicket. Densely grown, the church hasn't been able to afford a real groundskeeper for some time. Wave H remover at thicket. I spelt remover wrong.
Now, I know we both know this puzzle,
Mm-hmm.
but there are other solutions here.
I figured as much. I just
I
wanted...
mean, we could still go with this one, but...
Well, I'll take this ticket just to have it. I'll try and... We're going to be experimenting with new stuff. Okay, let's go east. And east again. Corner of the park in the lee of the church has been left free of kiosks and booths, contrary to the usual rules of cathedral. Oh wait, we already read this. Well, it does say admit one on it. Let's go to the park. Alright, we should also goal. Because our goals did update. Here's what we think we need to do. Get my backpack from the cinema, retrieve your remaining possessions from locker at hostel, meet your colleague Slango at Counterfeit Monkey. God.
Let's go hostel first.
Yeah. Slango is a hell of a name, by the way. Just saying that. Okay. Go hostel.
It's not immediately there.
Right.
Keep going east a bit.
Yes. Go east. This is a handsome expanse of grass, shaped like a rectangle with rounds cut from the corners, bounded by railings along the north side. There are no stalls and no barkers here, but small children are running around an impressive marble fountain. I gather from the direction of your thoughts that you dislike small children, so I'll restrain myself from trying to communicate with them. Okay. Look, grass. Deep green and velvety. Grass is nice. Selfies. The Heritage Corner. This patch of the town square has been paved over in octagonal bricks and is commonly used for displays of traditional dancing, over 50 women in homemade embroidered out aprons, skipping arm in arm and jumping over broomsticks. No, there aren't any here now, but trust me, it's an unforgettable sight. Under a bit of shelter in the corner, a diorama table shows scenes from local history, rotated out each week. This week's diorama represents the first sitting of the committee of the New Orthodox Orthography. God, some of these words are hard to say sometimes. The park continues to the north and west. To the east is a backpacker's hostel where you've stayed recently and where you stowed the rest of your important possessions. Yeah, not a big fan of children. Let's avoid them for the time being.
Yeah, no kids.
No kids.
No kids. There are a lot of them, and we are trying to get out of this country quietly.
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
That's difficult to do while leading a dozen children who aren't ours.
Yes. The patriotic scene is set against the backdrop of the Burroughs Building circa 1895, where the committee first met, but the historians have included a bit of building exterior to show that the meetings were conducted under Army Guard. The writing of dictionaries has not always been bloodless. The members in the army are movable, but the rest of the scenery appears to have been hot glued in place. Okay, I do try not to be crass, but I need to show this because this is the last thing I was shown before we decided, no, we have to play this for a stream. So, wave S remover at members. We reset the device to S. There is a pink cloud and the members turn into a member. It is a figure of the member. They say the whole thing. It looks slightly cross, as though the member has guessed its work would take another 15 years to complete. Use gel on member. We squeeze out a pea-sized quantity of gel. Rub it gently onto... Nope! Let me rephrase. We clinically and distantly apply some of the restoration gel to an innocent of the object in question. With an audible splort, the member becomes some members. God, this... I usually am not the one to laugh at jokes like this, but this one got me. Okay. East to the hostel. Take it this is where you stayed from the time you got to our town until our operation. I would have expected that someone with your credentials would have been able to afford something better. The Fluidor, maybe? And maybe you thought this was lower profile. At least it's clean and doesn't smell funny. The desk attendant is sort of eyeing us. She doesn't recognize us, but that's a good thing, I think. Discarded in one corner is Guidebook to Anglophone Atlantis. Look, guidebook. A much-thumbed and several years out-of-date guidebook to this immediate area. The cover is tomato red, but the pages are crinkly and beige. It appears that someone has spilled coffee on it. There's too much here to take in a quick read, but we could look up specific topics if you wanted to read more. Yeah, let's look up cinema. We pick up Guidebook to Anglophone Atlantis. The guide phone lists the cinema at the north end of Town Park as the best place to see films correctly and legally dubbed. Unfortunately, no.
There's people in there.
If we use the S remover on the hostel, it would do the same thing when we tried to change the fare into something else. So, not something they were going to do. We'd end up killing, probably a couple people. Look up Atlantis. Let's learn a bit more about Atlantis. The entire book concerns the island, so we'll have to be more specific about places and institutions. Makes sense. You know what? Let's try this. Look up Counterfeit Monkey. Wait, it's actually I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, no, you can see it on the map.
Oh,
Just north of the docks.
true. I wasn't expecting this to pop up, though. The Counterfeit Monkey is a tavern of unsavory reputation near the docks, said to be the locale of more fistfights and disturbances of the peace than the rest of the city put together. Tavern is named in honor of a famous linguistic con job and was a regular site for contraband creation and smuggling. In 1929, the borough first developed tools and procedures for identifying linguistic fakes. The monkey was the target of a law enforcement raid, but a lively and committed criminal community soon put the monkey in business again with new strategies.
So which way does that con go? Because I'm not sure how you counterfeit a monkey.
My immediate thought on this was turning a bunch of monkeys into money.
I guess.
Because the thing is, with counterfeiting money, you have to make sure that everything has different, all the data is right, and the bill is made of the same material and has the same holographics and stuff. But if the way these word devices work is from the public consciousness, if you were to turn something into money, it would look like legitimate real money. So you just take some monkey and whoop, make a whole bunch of money. Monkey would probably, given the size of a monkey, it would probably be around maybe $10,000 is my immediate guess. I don't know why 10,000 specifically. This came to mind. Look, desk attendant. She's dressed in a kind of casual hippie way. Nose ring, poofy blouse that doesn't quite fit right. Topics. Talk, desk attendant.
Talk to desk attendant?
Right. Talk to desk attendant. We greet the desk attendant.
Yeah, I see ya.
She says. We want to ask whether we can keep the guidebook. Ask if we can keep the guidebook. Hey, does this guidebook belong to the hostel, or can I keep it?
Sure, whatever.
She says.
People take and leave stuff all the time. It's no big deal.
Sweet. Take guidebook.
Not quite getting that right.
Nah, it's perfect. It is flawless. Just like you. Okay, topics. We could ask whether public transportation exists here, ask whether there's an internet connection nearby, or ask whether there are beds available, ask what the fare is for, ask what she recommends seeing in city, ask whether the attendant enjoys her job, or compliment the nose ring. Compliment the nose ring. I like your nose ring, we say. looks kind of piratical.
I'm not reading that.
Fair.
Sorry.
Totally fair. Okay, ask whether there is an internet connection nearby. Hey, so do you have internet here?
Sorry.
She says.
Our connection is suspended by the Bureau. Someone tried to use the hostile account for unauthorized contact with a universal translator.
Did they indeed? I wonder who that could have been. Ask who would do such a thing. Really, we ask brightly. I'm enjoying being a gum dunker more than I expected. Who would do something like that? She looks cross.
We don't know.
She says.
There was a young woman who used the computer about the right time, but she didn't seem like a criminal type to me. Pretty sure it must have been this other group, 3 guys that were staying here, but I can't figure out how.
Hear that? You don't seem like the criminal type. Ask what the young woman looked like. I didn't know about this stuff. So, like, what was she like? I venture to a little giggle. I don't think it's quite a success. Oh no, we're slowly becoming a bimbo.
What, the young woman?
The desk
Kinda
attendant shrugs. Dang. Uptight. Well, go up to our room. Painted off-white with hardwood floors under many layers of protective gloss coating, there are no surfaces in this room that would take a stain. 4 dorm beds are lined up against the wall. The locker you identify as your own sits near one of the beds, still locked with its dial lock. A girl of about 19 is standing in the middle of the room, looking around as though she can't quite believe where she's landed or what she's doing here. She's carrying a heavy pack and wearing a pink t-shirt.
Hey, do you think this place is safe?
She asks conspiratorially. I must look blank because she goes on.
I saw this documentary once, right, about a serial killer who went from youth hostel to youth hostel, grooming girls and killing them. And then he'd chop up the bodies and put the body parts into lockers, and no one would find out until he'd gone away again.
Nothing like this has happened around here, but she seems to get a charge out of scaring herself with this story. I'm inclined to ask for privacy. Ask for privacy. Spell privacy right, Zodi. I'd really like to be alone for a couple minutes now, we say. She waves a hand generously.
Don't worry about it. Do whatever you gotta do. I don't care. I'm so tired I couldn't move a muscle, but I've seen everything. I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters, and I'm in so I'm pretty hard to shock.
With a grunt, she shrugs off her pack and puts it on the ground near one of the beds.
I hope this place has good souvenirs. I got this great snow globe at the Vatican, right, that has the Pope inside saying, like, a blessing.
I'm inclined to admire the snow globe or recommend the cathedral gift shop. Admire snow globe. I bet your friends back home are going to love that.
Yeah, though I have to keep my souvenir buying light because there isn't that much room in my pack.
Interesting. Recommend cathedral gift shop. If you do want to go shopping, there's a new church across the square. It's got a bunch of gifts like your snow globe. Hello?
Oh, right, sorry.
It's okay.
Sweet, I'll check it out when I'm more rested. Thanks.
Just have to switch over to next music. Oh well, it was worth a try. She eyes the bed thoughtfully, punches each of the mattresses in turn, and then climbs onto the one she's selected.
I can't believe this room doesn't have its own bathroom and showers. I mean, gross. No, that was... Ugh, sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. Agree about showers. Because I agree with that. I'm more used to having my own bathroom, we agree. Which I guess is true for me. Your memories appear to be a little more diverse.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I know, right?
She bangs her head against the space where a pillow ought to be.
Have you tried talking to the desk girl downstairs? I mean, for more than 2 seconds, she's a total witch that starts with B, you know what I mean? Like, she looked at me like I was completely an idiot, right? And like, what does she expect? Of course I don't know my way around. I just got here.
I'm inclined to agree about the attendant. No, I disagree about the attendant. She does her job. Oh god, there's so much text. Why does this girl talk so much? She's probably paid about $5 an hour to greet visitors and scrub toilets while everyone else has a holiday, we say. This place is heavily subsidized to run it all. Having to work here is a form of punitive community service.
Well, okay, but she must have done something to get assigned community service then.
Exceeded her allowance of accidental misspellings, I'd imagine, I say. The girl starts to laugh, then trails off when she realizes this is not a joke. There's a heavy tread on the stairs, and the desk attendant puts her head in.
Just so you two know, you're not actually supposed to be hanging out a lot up here, don't you? It's for night use, really. I'm not going to do anything today, but it's kind of against the rules for future reference.
She turns around and goes back down. The backpacking girl sticks her tongue out at the parting back. Rude. I ask for privacy. Please, maybe we can just convince her to leave. This will just take a moment, but you would mind giving me the room to myself? We say. She just grunts and waves to indicate we may strip naked at our leisure.
Right, fine.
It's fine.
Oh my gosh, I am so jet-lagged. I just feel like I'm gonna fall over, you know?
Now, I've never been jet-lagged myself.
Voice is entirely wrong.
It's fine. Okay. Sympathize about jet lag. I've heard jet lag's pretty bad. I almost wrote het lag. I know how that is, you say. Which is interesting. Apparently you do know. I don't, never having left this island. She frowns curiously at us.
I don't get your accent, actually. Where are you from?
Tell
Tell the truth.
the truth about our origins. Tell truth. I spent some of my life around here and some of it traveling around the Mediterranean, living on a yacht and conducting acts of international espionage. That's when I wasn't working on a university degree in language studies.
Right. I'm guessing world-traveling professor spies don't stay in youth hostels.
She watches
You
us
like
with
that
interest.
place so far?
Disapprove of Atlantis. There are a lot of things to say about the government, we reply cautiously.
Like what?
It's better not to say them out loud,
If you can't say something nice, it's better not to say anything at all.
the girl responds.
I hate gossip, especially when people won't give hard details. That's how this girl Stacy at my school got totally ostracized for supposedly doing something slutty, only no one knew what it was.
She watches us with interest.
So when did you get to Anglophone Atlantis anyway? How long have you been here?
Lie about visiting. Just a few days. I wanted a little time to see the place before it got all crazy for serial comma day. You lie smoothly.
Oh, yeah, that was smart. I am really not ready for this at all.
Mm-hmm. So, this lady is the first real... I feel like the first real puzzle. We need to get her to leave, and she's very much a backpacker type lady. But thankfully, we have a solution for that. Shoto. Here, have a look at this, we say. The backpacking girl looks like throwing up. After a moment to regain her composure, she flees the vicinity.
Hang on. I have an idea.
Yes?
Of something to do that isn't just that.
Yes?
Undo?
Undo? Sure, let's undo.
Drop something that we can turn drop something that is not drop the pearl.
We put down the pearl.
Wish I hadn't remembered that serial killer thing.
The girl remarks, half to
That's gonna
herself.
keep me up later. Picturing someone with a saw hacking me up.
Goodness.
So we've dropped the pearl. So now turn it into a body part in front of her and see if that's a different reaction.
We reset the device to R, the pearl flickers, and there is a brief image of a peel in its place. The concept strangely embodied in a physical form before the power gives out. I guess your device... Okay.
Because that would be a sound.
I Did the wrong letter. Oops. The pearl gives way to the now familiar pair. Wave. P remover at pair. We reset the device to P. The pair gives way to the now familiar ear. What do you think of this? We ask, pointing to the ear. The backpacking girl gags. After a moment to regain her composure, she flees the vicinity. Neat.
Okay, so even when it's clearly just... She's still kind of creeped out by it. Because,
Yeah, she's a little worried.
And I mean, fair enough. It's still a creepy thing to just do in front of someone for no reason.
Oh, absolutely. Take backpack. The girl may be a bit foolish, but she doesn't deserve to be robbed of all her worldly goods on the first day of her trip. This is true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Look lockers. Standard metal locker for travelers to leave their valuable possessions in when they go out, or while they sleep, since one's bunkmates are not always to be trusted. It is of the kind that require the traveler to bring his own lock, and in fact someone, such as yourself, has put a lock on this one. You know what, that's a good question. Open backpack. Let's see what's in there. We open the heavy pack, revealing an assortment of very short shorts, a broomstick skirt, flip-flops, bikini bottoms, various t-shirts, an anorak, a fat guidebook to Europe, a cheap camera, and a box of lady devices. What's an anorak? It might be meant to counter the effect of all the shorts.
It's a kind of heavy jacket.
Ah, okay. Neat.
Which does indeed seem like a really weird thing to wear with short shorts and... what?
Yeah. Let's go back to the lockers. Lock. It's curious, now that you look at it. It's a combination lock with a dial face, but no one has bothered putting any numerals onto the dial. You have a fleeting thought of making your lock. We now have access to our memories. So, memories are neat. We can remember things. Remember making your lock. You were going through the galley cupboards on the yacht. If you're looking for coffee, Slango forgot the resupply, Brock said, descending the galley staircase in the wet Speedo. No, the first letter razor, he replied, holding up a portable clock. I need a lock that responds to restoration gel, but nothing else. Ah, Brock toweled his hair. It's in my bunk. Sorry. Wanna come look for it? He smiled, a dead giveaway. Wish I could, but we're on a deadline. Go put on some pants, and bring me the razor. Then we're back in the present. So yes, we needed this gel. Use gel on lock. We dip out a pea-sized quantity of gel and rub it gently on the lock. With an audible splurt, the lock becomes a clock and falls to the floor. Appears to be one of the archetypical alarm clocks that crows at sunrise and generally makes a nuisance of itself. Shows the time to be about 25 past 10. Sweet. Take clock. I like clocks. And, open locker. Now that the lock has been removed, the locker swings easily open, revealing a roll, a letter, and some plans. Look, roll. Now that is more like
Money!
it. You've got a tidy little stash of euros here. Hell yeah, cash money. Look, euros. Someday you'll have to tell me a little bit about the tricks of the trade, how you fence stuff, you know? Or perhaps you won't tell me. Maybe it would be better not. At any rate, this money is useful, so I won't ask too many questions. Take euros. Look, letter. It's a letter from your brother, printed off anonymously from an untraceable email account that you accessed in town. Nothing that could be followed back to Slango and the yacht. Sis, I
got...
Okay, you can read this.
I'm keeping your wire transfer funds. I want to try for Stanford. I'd say thank you, except that 1, you didn't get it legally. I saw this documentary about teen prostitutes. If that's where it came from, then ugh. And 2, honestly, you owe us for what you put us through after you ran away. Mom and Dad were humiliated that you turned into the prodigal daughter. Your face got put on milk cartons. Pastor Hughes gave a sermon about it. Mom spent all that time coaching you through spelling practice. You know she doesn't enjoy getting up at 4 a.m., right? You totally threw that in their faces. If you want to come home sometime, fine, but don't come just to see me. If you want to see me, you have to see Mom and Dad too. Nate.
Take letter. We get the letter. And look, plans. The plans are rolled up and stuck shut with a label that reads, Property of Dental Consonants Limited. Unauthorized use legal. They're just a set of prints from the main computer design, of course, but still extremely informative. To the right engineer, they might reveal the secrets of T insertion for replication by other companies. These are what you and Brock were originally contracted to lift from the island at a fee in the multiple millions. I don't want to be walking around with very important, like, illegal documents, so use a S remover on plan. Just forgot the hyphen. Reset the device to S. With a distinct whiff of crisp paper, the plans turn into a plan. Number of pages in the original roll has been reduced, but this is still obviously a bit of DCL property. The only difference is that this version is incomplete. Use P remover on plan. Does this do... No, LAN is not a thing. Understandable. Use L remover on plan. We reset the device to L, there is a smell of anise, and the plan turns into a pan. An omelet-sized skillet in cast iron. Nice! Take pan. We get the pan.
We're now carrying a lot of stuff. I'm very glad there's no inventory limit.
Same here.
How much stuff are we carrying?
Inventory. We are equipped with the following essentials. Your L remover, a pan, really the smuggled plans in disguise, a roll, and a tub of restoration gel. We're also carrying an apple, a clock, guidebook to Anglophone Atlantis, a letter, a pearl, a ticket, and a toe.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
Quite a bit of stuff. But yeah, I look around. Yep, okay. Just making sure we didn't miss anything. Let's go down. And west. Now, since we know we need to go to the cinema, let's go to cinema. This is a small, one-screen theater. The seats are not uncomfortable and the screen is not large. The projector is old, the management is lazy, the food is served.
No food is served.
Oh, no food is served. I misread that. On 2 occasions, the film I was watching burst into flames while it was being shown. Despite these handicaps, it maintains an active and interested clientele simply by virtue of content. Wide variety of foreign films that, though meticulously dubbed into flawless California-accented English, nonetheless carry the slight tang of the forbidden. Evidently, the next showing is not for a little while yet, because there are no patrons in sight.
Ticket.
Says the ticket taker automatically.
So, I know we've got a ticket, but we also have money.
We do have money. But I don't... I'm a notorious skinflint.
But we're also trying to escape, and if we draw attention for forging a ticket, that might
That is true.
Do one and undo it and do the other.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
Give money. Check this out. We say, hold wonderful for inspection. The ticket taker folds our hands back. Better hold on to... We just straight up like, hey, look what I have. Look what I have. Okay.
I didn't think I was saying just like buy ticket maybe. Give him the ticket. Do that scene, but let's see what happens if we buy a ticket. Yeah.
Okay, buy ticket. Oh, doesn't that seem a waste? We have a nice fake ticket that we didn't have to spend any money on. Maybe money's like water to you. Well, as you like, of course. You're the expert in covert, whatever it is. I like to buy a movie ticket, we say. The ticket taker shrugs.
Okay.
I think about raising some discussion about why the theater bothers with the ticketing procedure at all, and whether this will ruin their accounting about the number of available seats, but you're right that we would probably make us more memorable than we want to be. He accepts a bill, and that's that. We now have movie access. Okay, undoing this. Yeah, because we're gonna use our fake ticket. Give ticket. Here, have a ticket, we say. The ticket taker frowns slightly as he takes the ticket, turns it over front and back, looks at us in confusion, looks at the ticket again, then he goes to the phone and makes a call. I'm nervous. It's evident that he's talking to his manager. He doesn't take his eyes off us for a moment. He puts his hand over his mouth to the receiver so we can't hear the whole conversation. But clearly, by the gist of it... sorry. But the gist is still obvious.
Might be fake, but trick it maybe, or stick it. Oh, all right.
Finally, he hangs up.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
He says,
Your ticket looks a little different from our usual ones, but I guess the printing's been changed.
He tears the ticket briskly into confetti, destroying all evidence of our crime, and points off to the west. The screening
The screening room is that way. Thank you and enjoy the show. It's not for a while, though.
Okay.
Yeah, no, see, my thought on this, right,
Mm-hmm.
is we have money.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to conjure a bunch of brambles spontaneously seems potentially more useful than one additional bit of than one trip to the movies.
You know
worth
what?
of money.
That's entirely fair, actually.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't finished this game either. But like one additional future option seems more fun than a small amount of money that the game may or may not actually track at all.
That is a good point. We'll just have to find another ticket then.
I mean, we could undo.
That's true.
We could undo and do the money one.
I think I'm fine with sticking with this, but we'll see.
Okay.
Here it goes. Okay. West. Whatever is scheduled for later showing has not started yet, and is probably not destined to start for some time. At any rate, the screen is blank, and no audience has yet assembled. My backpack is stowed under a seat in the third row from the back. Figured that it would be undisturbed there for a couple of hours in the dark and out of sight. If anyone found it, it would probably be turned into the lost and found. But it is a big relief to find it still there. There are a flash drive and a monocle in the backpack. Neat. Look, flash drive. This is it. All my notes, the syllable and word generating programs from which I built my language vocabulary, a lexicon and pronunciation guide and grammatical descriptions. And then there's the research to support the product, citations, copies of journal articles and scans from books, contact information for people in the outside world I think could help me. It's everything I've been working on for the last 3 years. Take flash drive. We open the backpack, we get the flash drive. Nice. And, look, monocle. This is no mere fashion accessory. It is the very top grade of authentication scope, designed for people who have to use them all day, and normally available only to the employees of the Bureau of Orthography. If we can look through the monocle at something, we can see its true nature, regardless of spelling changes. You like that? I thought you might be impressed. My father got it for me. For research, he said. But I think he knew I just coveted them. At any rate, you're not the only one with equipment. Wear monocle. First taking the monocle. Everything turns computer monitor green when viewed through our right eye, and staring fixedly at anything will turn up its authenticity status. Nice. And yeah. Put all in backpack. Take backpack. We take the backpack. Mine. A little bit worn, but capacious. Doesn't have any identifying marks on it, and I thought a brand new bag would look more suspicious. It currently gapes open. Close bag.
Close backpack.
Closed backpack. We closed the backpack. Backpack closed. Sweet. And that's as far as I've ever gotten in this game. Well, first, north. We've been here before, but this is as far as I've gotten in this game. The booth is small and lined with gray carpet. It smells faintly of hot dogs. A jotter is propped up next to the projector. Look, jotter.
We could turn it into a boot, but we're in it.
Yeah, that would be a bit dangerous. Unfortunately, we cannot turn it into an otter because copy protection prevents us from creating living things. It's a little spiral-bound notebook, the kind reporters in old movies carry. It's full of notes, running times in movies, numbers of people in the audience, who clapped during potentially subversive scenes, who arrived in a group of more than 3. On the jotter is written, Red, Audience 14, FM couple, MM couple, M in raincoat, FFFFF group, FMF, M. The monocle pings happily as we sight the jotter with the crosshairs. Ah. Well, I don't like these people taking judicious notes on folk like this, so taking jotter. Mine now. Okay, south and east and south again. That's a joke Knight's making about how pirates say "R." That's not how that works, though. Nice joke, though. Also, yeah. Put jotter in backpack. Close backpack. Okay, self? Where have we not gone, is the question.
We haven't left the park.
That is
and the area near the park.
Yes. Northeast. Ah, there we go. East. Uncharted territory. I've never been here before. Let's see. Once the central hillock of the city was a fortified enclave, protected from the harbor and the peasant town by great walls. Now, however, the walls are mostly gone, except for a little spur that runs north from here. The walkways and tower are open to the public. Meanwhile, a staircase as wide as a street descends east from the town square towards the harbor. An enormous blue and orange warning poster covers the wall alongside the staircase. We can go south to Heritage Corner, southwest to Fair, east and west to Park Center from here. Fancy. Look poster. Warning! Have you seen these dangerous individuals? If so, avoid contact and report all interaction to the Bureau of Orthography. Below, there's a picture of several people. One of them is you, before your face got shuffled with mine. It's funny that... yeah. It's funny that when we met, you mentioned you were a user of illegally modified language tools, but you didn't emphasize the grand larceny side so much. Not to worry, I won't turn you in. I can hardly afford to, can I? Markle pings happily as we sight the poster with crosshairs. Give me just a second, I need to get some water.
Could we make a poser? I think that counts as living. No.
I have returned. How's everybody doing? I'm going to assume good. Okay, Well, this poster is inconvenient, but there's really nothing we can do about it, and it's not that big of a deal. So, let's go east.
Oh, hey, I just checked something that might be useful.
Yeah?
Type highlighting on.
Highlighting on. Highlighting of object names is now on. Oh, nice. That does help. Let's see here. We've been in the park. There are many places we could go. Let's go north. Only portions of the old walls still stand, but you can walk along what remains as though you were defending the place. They're 1.5 meters wide, made of ashlar blocks. On the vertical faces, these blocks are still rough, but underfoot they have been worn smooth by the passage of many defenders and subsequently tourists. One of the blocks in the wall has been defaced, some old inscription gouged out. I used to like to climb around up here when I was a kid. I made believe. Oh, you'll think it's silly. Down below in the distance are the docks and the sea, and immediately east of here is an old hexagonal turret. You are reminded of my youthful pranks. Okay. Remember youthful pranks. Oh, I used to play that I was an Atlantean guard defending the battlements against invading redcoats, armed only with a saber and an O-removing musket. So they turned into red cats, you see. My mother explained later that letter removal hadn't ever taken the form of muskets and that I had my chronology wrong. So I do know better. My father gave me an even longer and even less interesting lecture about how the British colonial government wasn't entirely a bad thing and how it didn't do to be too gleeful about mentally shooting some young soldier who probably didn't have a choice about being there. And we're back in the present. Whew. Talking takes a lot out of you. Yeah. Okay. Look turret. The turret extends to the east. It's one of the best preserved pieces of the old wall. The monocle pings happily as we sight turret within the crosshairs. Neat. Look around a bit. Look block. To judge by its different shaping and color, the defaced block is something borrowed from an older building to make up the new wall, taking out of a church or a mosque or perhaps even a Roman fortification in some earlier era of the island. It was once inscribed with a message, but whatever it was, the foreign language writing has been completely chiseled away so as to be illegible. The defaced ashlar block. Neat. Let's go west. Hycycus Street. As the street name makes obvious, this part of town was laid out in a different political age, when it was considered more important to commemorate linguistic richness than to standardize practices. That's something we could probably do. We'll see about doing that later.
No, because it would be a defaced ashlar block, which... I mean, maybe?
That might be something. This is also the edge of the richest part of town, with houses, really almost villas, that were built for households with servants. My parents' place is just a block or two north of here. On holidays like today, this street is often host to a farmer's market, though it is now late enough in the day that most of the farmers have given up and gone home, taking with them their 23 varieties of pickled olives, their loganberry jam, and their pig's feet in aspic. One remaining farmer lazes here, watching his stall. Yeah. Throat. Looks tall. It appears to belong to the farmer. It's made of wood and canvas and offers a little shade against the harsh sun. Previous customers have cleared most of it off, but the farmer still has some asparagus, a lime, and a yam. Neat. Uh... Look farmer. Contrary to your obvious expectations, he is dressed more or less like anyone else, and is neither wearing quaint overalls nor chewing a piece of hay. That's fair. Talk to farmer. Hello. We say hi to the farmer. Farmer makes a little cluck sound, which seems to mean that he sees us, but doesn't care to waste an entire syllable on acknowledging it. Ask what is for sale. What is for sale, we ask.
I got some asparagus, a lime, and a yam.
The farmer replies. Recommend other vegetables. Have you ever considered selling radishes, we ask?
Not really.
Radicchio?
No.
Chicory? We try. Cabbage? Carrot? Corn?
Again, no.
Radishes?
You already said radishes.
He has the faintly martyred expression of one humoring us, but it doesn't look as though he has much else to do. I don't think we can use... I don't think that's a thing. I don't think an armor is a thing. We could try that if we want to assault this man. Yeah, that's a fair point, Blue. We're just being a little rude, but that's fine. We're just enjoying the sights. Let's go back east because I use L remover on use B remover on block. Look block. Use
B dash remover?
Oh, I forgot the dash. God damn it. On block. It's okay. Too tightly bound to its modifiers and can't be manipulated separately. Or not powerful enough. We cannot make the defaced Ashlar lock. Let's go west again. North. Webster Court. Hesychus Street opens here into a broad and plainly paved court. Lending its name to the location is a bronze statue of Noah Webster. My mother likes to irritate my father rather, by quoting what his contemporaries called Webster, a viper, a maniacal pedant, and always a favorite at reform parties, a toad in the service of the sans culotism. She makes sure to pronounce that in the most Parisian accent possible. Large building just to the north, yes, the one in pale pink, is my parents' home. I think I mentioned that my parents were well off. My father works for the Bureau, embarrassingly, and my mother was born into the kind of money that we like to pretend doesn't exist on this island. The street continues south, east, and west, and just to the northeast is my parents' side garden. So this is all neat and all, but we do need to get to the counterfeit monkey. So, as much as I would love to antagonize Alex's parents, let's return south.
Mm-hmm.
And east.
Also, she has no idea. They'd have no idea.
Yeah, the parents would not recognize it at all. So I guess from here, east. The old hexagonal turret. Up here we stand on the remains of the old fortification. This turret offers a view out over the docks, the fish market, and the harbor, which it was designed to protect. A heavy old depluralizing cannon is aimed out to sea. Okay, thank you, Soraya. We might check that out then. Look, cannon. Like a conventional cannon, it has a mounting to allow the user to turn the gun and change its angle to hit objects at various ranges. It's currently unloaded, of course, but time was when this vast weapon was employed to reduce entire fleets to a single ship, and a whole crew of Marines to a single man. This tactic was found so effective that the harbor was never successfully taken. Neat.
Mm-hmm.
wonder if we'll have to make use of this at some point. West and north. The wall once continued north from here some distance before carving northwest around the remainder of the city. So much has crumbled away, though, that the walkway is impassable north of this point. To protect citizens, there is a safety railing across the broken edge. A metal ladder of 4 rungs descends the inner face of the wall, allowing pedestrians access to the streets to the west. Among the rubble fill of the wall is an odd spiral-shaped rock. Look rock. Spiral rock turns out to be a fossil from one of those sea creatures long ago. Neat. Use S remover on fossil. Wonder what kind of foil. We reset the device to S. There's a mad scientist cackle, and the fossil turns into a foil. One of those long, springy swords used for fencing. It has a button at the tip to prevent harm to one's opponent. There's dismissive blat from the monocle, and transposed over the foil is a faint greenish image of a fossil. Neat. We've now got a rapier. Well, a foil, but still. Remove button. Remove button from foil. Okay, never mind. Oh.
You said remover.
Yes. Remove button from foil. That seems to be a part of the foil. Okay, can't be removed. Fair point. Take foil. Neat. We could turn this into oil, but I don't think I should do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go west. Oh, this just brings us back to here. Interesting. North. Walking into my parents' house is the action perhaps most likely to get us caught. Fair point. North anyway? Okay, yeah, won't let us. Northeast. A narrow strip of land between the house and the edge of my parents' property. What's a chart? The eastern edge runs right up to the decaying old wall of the city, which here means some stampy masonry on this side and a dizzying drop on the other. The rest of their terraces and gardens are fenced off. A little chard still grows in the nearest bed, carefully tended to thrive in this climate. Because it's so linguistically productive, chard is something of a national symbol. And during the World Wars, there was a fad of gardening at home. After the war, it became common for affluent people with a little bit of land to keep their garden, so that if you're down on your luck, you could glean a few leaves. Neat. Look chard. Some leafy greens that make an okay side salad if we were feeling hungry. And thank you for the answer, Blue. Just a weird vegetable. Use H remover on chard. We could make a car from this, actually. That's a good point, Blue. We reset the device to H. With a distinct whiff of crisp, snappy cardboard, the chard turns into a card. Not a playing card, as I might have expected, or a calling card, or even an index card, but a tarot card, representing the chariot. The vehicle is drawn by 2 prize horses, one black, one white. The driver appears to have some difficulty keeping them together, to judge from the surly expression in the raised whip. Fascinating! Oh, I just realized something.
What?
Well, we have the foil that we can turn into oil, and we're about to have a card. A car. Use D remover on car. Card. We reset the device to D. With a distinct whiff of the metal parts and oil, the card turns into a car. It is a little larger than a toy, but that is what you want when driving on the streets around here. Any substantial vehicle wouldn't fit down the winding drives. Here is how my mother gets around. She takes a €300 Hermes scarf with an orange border and a pattern of prancing horses. She tosses it in the air. As it falls, she shoots it twice like a clay pigeon, once to take out the F and the second time for the S. And such a car. Buttery leather seats, Jaguar lines. somebody asks how she got such good results, she jokes that it's because of her quality materials. Suffice it to say that we are not similarly blessed. Look at Car.
So what is a so what would a scar turn into without being on anything?
That's a good question, actually. Probably like a rip in the air. Yeah, she makes a scar for...
just a bit of skin that's got a scar on it.
Yeah, maybe. Also, yeah, we could also turn the chard into char, which is a type of fish. It is a little larger than a toy. Okay. The card isn't much of anything. It is just a car. Use car.
It's not a great car.
Yeah. We open the car door. Perhaps unsurprisingly, it comes without an effective lock system. Drive car to roundabout. Hustle, bustle, dirt, ugly American chain shops, lots and lots of people. There seems to be a large organized protest in progress. Protesters completely cram the sidewalk to the southeast. The curb is lined with garbage. To the west, the street line turns into a monumental staircase leading to the old fortified area. A cross street heads southeast towards the main roundabout. From a loudspeaker nearby comes the electronic sound of simulated bells ringing the hour after noon. It's later than I thought. We better get a move on. Hello, Fury. Yeah, take garbage. There are other people paid to perform that task. Sorry, we cannot get the garbage. Let's go southeast. Unfortunately, the sidewalks, which were never very wide to start with, are so blocked by the massive protesters that it's impossible to get by. Besides, if we associate with them, we might wind up getting arrested on minor charges anyway. We need some kind of automotive transport. We have. Use car. We didn't take the car. Oh no.
The car is... back again.
Yes. Monumental staircase. Once the central hillock of the city was a fortified enclave. We already saw this. I believe it's north, west, north again.
We could buy the fruit and stuff from the farmer. Might be useful.
That is true. We should probably look at getting those. Take northeast. It's okay, Fury, and honestly, that's a good reason as any to not come places. Gotta take care of Cat. Our car, which might better be described as a covered bicycle, is parked illegally nearby.
That's a really bad car.
It's a really bad car. The car is just a bit too heavy to carry in its current state. Fair point. Use gel on car. What?
Yeah, turn it back.
Splort becomes a chard. Take chard. Uh-oh. Yeah, illegal parking. We are full of crimes, as said at the start of this stream,
and
actually.
we just stole someone else's.
Okay, it's half of our body's parents' garden. We're not stealing it. This is making...
Well, but,
we have stolen some stuff, though, yes. A flicker of curtains from inside the house suggests that someone saw us. A cleaner, possibly. But then there is a voice, not audible except as a confident, rising and falling tone. This will be my mother, saying not to worry and not to interfere. Well, that's nice.
Maybe there would be something interesting if we actually went in there.
Yeah, north.
And there's places we haven't been before, also.
Yeah. Okay, we cannot go inside house, so west. Rogue closet. Close, rather. Why did I read that as closet? A pleasantly sheltered lane in which I learned to ride a bicycle and where my friend Lucy used to live before she and her parents moved off island. Restrictions were looser even 20 years ago. Our old schoolhouse is just west of here. If you look just north between the houses, you'll notice also the footpath down to an almost private beach. It used to be open, but it's now gated off, and built into the gate is a chic modern sculpture. Look gate. Actually, look schoolhouse first. It's where I went to school until I was 12, as did most of the kids in this area. It's an old building with big arched windows and faded floorboards, and in the afternoon the schoolyard smells of spilled milk getting sour in the sun. From this direction, there's not much to see but the screen of palm trees in front. Okay. Look gate. A gate of wrought iron bars between two sturdy columns, too close to climb through and too tall to climb over. Built into the right-hand column next to the gate latch is a curious sculpture. Looks sculpture, even though it doesn't show up as a verb. The base of the sculpture is a cone about 4 feet tall. On top of that is a flat circular pedestal, and there's a mirror that rotates around the outer circumference. The mirrored surface faces inward so that it sometimes reflecting whatever might be on the pedestal, currently nothing, and sometimes concealing it from view. Interesting. And yes, to explain Fury, because you're new, the monocle allows us to see what a real object is in the, what it really looks like. So, look mirror. Okay, that just says the same thing. Put shard on pedestal. The mirror revolves for a moment, and without changing the shard, though the word Drak appears in the startling green on the mirror's surface. Oh, this mirror reverses things. Oh shit.
That is potentially a lot of
inventory.
So are any of these potentially meaningful backwards? Or meaningful backwards if we remove
stuff from them.
Well, a pair would be a reap, which is not really quite a thing.
No, not really.
Letter would be leer, which is real.
Yes.
That could be a thing. I don't know if that's a useful thing, but that could be a thing.
That is a potential thing.
What was the toe originally?
The tomes.
Nothing.
Yeah.
The foil was a...
Fossil.
Fossil, no. The pan could be a nap.
I don't think that's a thing.
Pans could be a span? No. Sorry, that's not backwards. That's
Yeah.
This seems potentially very useful, and it magnifies the possibilities greatly, but I don't actually know what to do with it.
Likewise. Oh no. Let's just try going north. We lack a key that fits the gate. So we need to find a way to get a key.
We should probably take the chard back.
Yeah, take chard. Mine. Go farmer's stall. We can't taste the monocle, Fury. Okay. Just go east, south. Look stall. Look yam. A yam with whitish skin. Some of the dirt of the farm still adheres to it.
Okay, so Meg is also a thing. It's an abstract, though.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, okay, so I'm not sure.
You're...
Also, there must be something.
Yeah. Also, goals. Our goals updated. Find transport for getting past the traffic on the high street. Okay, we do know how to do that. Soraya has recommended we get the vegetables here, and I don't really see why, but sure.
I mean, I'm sure they'll be used. Right, they'll probably be useful eventually.
Okay.
Buy.
Yes. We don't dare invade the personal space of the farmer. Buy vegetables. We already have the chard. Buy lime? We nod to the farmer. The farmer nods at us. I'll have the lime, please. Sure thing, says the farmer. Okay, take lime. We already have that. Okay. Buy asparagus. Okay, and buy... What was the other one? Asparagus, lime. I forget what the last farm device is. Vegetable. Look. Stall. Look, stall. Ah, yes, yam. Buy yam. Ask what is for sale now. Ah, nice. Okay, we have a bunch of vegetables now. Put all in backpack, just to make sure it's in there. The foil couldn't possibly fit in the bag. Good to know. Close backpack. North. West. You have a fleeting thought of your crew's skills. Interesting. Remember my crew's skill. The bed was draped with sheer salmon-colored fabric. The bedroom opened without doors, straight onto the bathroom with a full view of the spotlit bathtub. The toilet was hidden by a frosted glass panel etched with leaping fish. It was the swankiest place you've ever seen, and it made you uncomfortable. Belongs to a seafood magnate, your crewmate, Brock, was explaining. He was in the middle of setting up a directional mic pointed out the window. The head of R&D at Sibilant Solutions lived right across the way. What you learned from his pillow talk was enough to recover 3 missing marquises. Neat. I don't know why that's relevant, but neat. North? Ah, yes, we cannot go there. Well, let's go roundabout to get back to the high street. Yeah. Go to roundabout. Yeah, let's look at the chain shops. Look, chain shops. Our eyes pass over them without recognition or attention, really. There is nothing here for any of us, for any use, rather. It is almost all women's shoes and clothing, overpriced coffee, toiletries made with products from half the world away. Noted. Okay. Use D remover. Remover on chard. With a distinct whiff of faint fishiness, the chard turns into a char. It's a trout-like freshwater fish of the northern countries. It is dead, needless to say, and would make someone a nice supper if they knew how to clean and cook it. Our skills, however, are not up to the task. And use H remover on char. Hooray! Car acquired. Use car to go southeast. Okay, use car. We close the car door. Drive car? Drive car to southeast.
Drive southeast.
Drive southeast.
Go southeast?
It's not understanding southeast, I think. Drive SE.
Drive car SE? Drive car SE? Go
southeast. Okay. Go southeast. There we go. I was putting it to... Oh, wait, no. It just says go south.
Southeast? Just alone? SE?
Southeast? There. We swing the car door open. We get into the car. The extremely primitive dial in front of us is pointing all the way to the left. I think that's its way of saying it's out of fuel. At any rate, the engine won't start. Well, that's to be expected. Use F remover on foil. We reset the device to F. With a distinct whiff of mechanics in the summertime, the foil turns into some oil. A can of what appears to be motor oil. It is sludgy and black. Use oil on car. Put oil in car. In my limited interactions with motor vehicles, I've always taken the machine to a garage for any corrective work. This includes topping up the oil. Oh my god! At some point in the chat, somebody suggested as a joke, use the bee remover on garbage to make a garage. I think we have to actually do that, though. On garbage. We reset the device to B. There's a flash of psychedelic colors, and the garbage turns into a garage. It is a small but well-furnished garage for minor tune-ups and repairs. It even comes with a mechanic, a surprising touch since letter removers are usually legally prevented from creating living persons. But sometimes there are glitches if the people are not created directly. There's this dismissive blat from the monocle that just tells us it is made of garbage. The mechanic nods at us.
Well, that's
Well then.
that's the origin story.
We've created life!
I was a pile of garbage, and then someone needed their car.
You cut out a little bit there.
I was a pile of garbage, and then someone needed their car fixed.
Look mechanic, honestly. I'm a little surprised that you were able to generate this guy, but he seems to have come as part of the implementation of the garbage. Ask why our car does not run. Ask about car. There appears to be something wrong with my car, we tell the mechanic. He has the somewhat cow-like expression of all fake people, but he nods gravely and has a look. Nudge, nudge.
So we do have oil. Oh, right, sorry. Sorry.
It's fine.
I keep just reading ahead and not
It's entirely fine.
It hasn't been maintained. You got any motor oil?
Okay, you're not a living pile of garbage, Soraya. Come on.
I mean, apparently, fake people are distinct.
That is true. We climb out of the car. Will this work? We hold out the oil.
Should do.
He says. Rolling up his sleeves, he goes to work on the car. There's no small amount of banging and muttering, but finally he stands back and announces that he believes it is now in working condition. We could thank the mechanic. Thank the mechanic. Thank you. That was a great help, we say. He nods.
I mean, he could... he already told us it is.
Just making sure. Is the car fixed now, we ask?
The oil is in. Might be it's out of fuel, though.
Oh, we need fuel and oil. Damn.
Fuel, gas, petrol.
Yes. Get in car. Drive southeast. There's no gas in the car. Without fuel, it is not going far. Okay. And to be fair, Fury, he was a pile of garbage like 5 seconds ago.
And he was still able to do an oil change.
Yeah, that is true. Now, where are we going to get fuel or gas? Huh. West. Oh, it's... Get out of car. West. Okay. Look, Central Hillock. What is a hillock? Square Park stretches east, with official buildings beyond occupying what was once the fortified heart of town. A little of the original fortification does exist immediately north and curving around to the northwest, but it is a very bad shape here, and the top of the walls cannot be walked on at this point. Unfortunately, we cannot make the asparagus into gas, because we gotta find a way to turn the words around. Asparagus might be useful if we ground it up into, like, actual fuel and mixed it with, like, other things. And I'm not a mechanic. You would know.
I don't think...
But
somehow I don't think that would work for the car very well.
Yeah. We have to find... And the things we have available to us is the ability to revert things to what they're supposed to be, the ability to reverse a word so that it is potentially, and we have the ability to remove letters from a word, but only one letter, but every instance of that letter. Let's see here. The problem with that, Blue, is that we would have... you first.
Sorry. So we have a mirror, right? Or there is a mirror over somewhere.
Yeah.
Which can make things backwards. We can remove letters one at a time to stay a coherent word. And we can turn things back into what they used to. See, what it is
Yes. Also, you need to turn off auto adjust. You keep on cutting out.
Sorry.
While we wait for Miriam to do that, to all of those who are watching and enjoying, thank you very much. My name is LaZodiac, and we are doing this to raise money for top surgery for myself, and also just having some fun. I'm quite enjoying
is this. Better?
Yep, that is better.
Hooray!
Oh, that reminds me, I need to change the music, because the music has stopped. Unfortunately, Blue, we turned the foil into the oil. So we don't got that anymore. There was some soil in the garden, but I'm not sure that would be useful.
And foil is not sharp. It specifically had a safety button on the end of it.
Yes, that is true. It is specifically a non-violent foil. Goals.
Okay. Alright, so soil could have been oil. Soil. Yeah, no, there's got to be something. Is there something that we're not thinking of also?
Possibly, but
Like, is there something somewhere that we didn't grab that could have been useful? What do we got in our inventory fully?
inventory. We have the letter remover, a backpack, a flash drive, a monocle, a pan, a roll of money, a tube of restoration gel, a tub rather. We have an apple, an asparagus, a clock, a guidebook, a jotter, a letter, a lime, a pearl, a toe, and a yam. I will ask you for help if we need help, Soraya. Thank you for offering.
Ale is alcohol.
I did have that same thought, actually.
But that's still not going to run a car.
Probably not.
And I mean, it's not exactly high proof alcohol either. It's probably not even flammable.
Yeah.
The jotter is paper. That's at least flammable, but that doesn't help very much.
True. Let's see.
Letter, leer, reel. Maybe. I'm not sure. Like that could potentially at least confirm that the mirror does what we think it does.
Yeah, let's at least do that first.
Where is the mirror again?
T remover on letter. We were set the device to T. The letter flickers and there is a brief image of a leer in its place. The concept of strangely embodied in a physical form. Okay, so we cannot do that. Darn.
So lime to lie would similarly not work.
True.
Pearl, pear, ear, pea, peel. No. Toe was.
The tomes.
Toe was tomes.
Yes.
Tome. That's. Yam. Is there anything in this that we got before we got the monocle that we haven't looked at?
No, we've
no,
we've
just
got it all.
The cash. Is the cash potentially not real?
Look roll. Yeah, the roll is real.
Okay, the roll is real. So, and that's the only thing that we got that we haven't checked.
Yeah,
right.
That is correct. Something. A couple people have mentioned in chat that maybe they'll only turn the asparagus into sugar if we reverse the name of it. So let's try that.
Sugar-upus.
Sugar-upus. Go to Roget Close.
You are reminded of...
What?
Did we have that reminder before?
Yes, and I looked at it. Also, while we're here, save. Just saving the game. Well, I almost closed the game by mistake, and that would be bad.
Yeah, we did that. We did the pear into an ear before.
Yep. You'll have to watch the earlier part of it, Fury. Because Fury got here, at the middle of it. Okay.
What was the bit in the cruise skill? Is there a hint in there? I don't remember. You don't have to pull it up again if you just summarize, but...
It was just thinking about how our buddies use the listening device to learn stuff about the person who had kidnapped marquises? Multiple marquises.
We haven't gone north.
Well, we can't go north. The gate is blocking the way. Put asparagus on pedestal.
Sugar-upsa.
Sugar-upsa. Not quite. Put yam on pedestal.
There is no more room on the pedestal.
Take asparagus. Put yam on pedestal. The beer rotates in leisurely fashion, and when it is done, there is a May. This is the sheet for the month of May, torn from the calendar. Someone has put a gold star on the 21st, and dinner with the the shopless is penciled onto the 30th. There is a dismissive blat. The gate clicks open. What? Like, sure.
If we take it, does the gate stay open?
Take May.
May.
We take the May. Okay. North. We slip between the houses and down a path that looks as though it might lead to someone's backyard. No one has ever put up signage to correct this misapprehension because no one who lives around here is eager to encourage strangers on the private beach. Soon, however, the footpath begins to descend purposely towards the level of the ocean. I guess the idea of it is that we needed to activate the thing, and that opened the gate.
I mean, it is going to a school.
That is true.
That's not a very good justification.
The footpath winds between the villas, sloping steeply downwards. It is narrow, and bushes left and right conceal it even from the windows of the people living nearby. Look,
so the bushes could be buses.
They could be buses.
I'm not sure that's helpful unless there's fuel in the buses, but there wasn't fuel in the...
Yeah, there wouldn't be fuel in the bus. Some variety I'm not familiar with. Dark glossy green leaves, thick stems. In the right season, and I can't even remember what season that is, they also grow gaudy pink flowers, but not now. Lots of kudzu grows around and over the bushes. This is one of the few spots of the island where it hasn't been eradicated, it seems. At one point along the path, the bushes stick out especially far, as though there's something behind them.
Okay, so bushes could be buses. Don't know whether we want to do that. Kudzu seems like a very tricky word that nevertheless offers a Z.
That is true.
I'm not sure, like maybe with an anagram or something else.
Wave
there is
D
something
remover.
To do with kudzu. But...
D remover at kudzu.
Kudzu?
A kazoo.
That's not how you spell. That's not how you spell kazoo.
Darn. Oh well. Anyway.
We could look at the... There is a thing called a kudu? What is a kudu?
It's some sort of animal.
Let's see if it...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Use Z on Z remover on kudzu, sure. Yep, legal override, can't make real things.
Okay, I've never heard of a kudu, but now I wonder if that's going to be useful sometime.
Perhaps. Now, I want to look at the...
Look at the kudzu. Maybe it used to be a kudu.
Actually,
maybe
yeah.
there was a D inserter or a Z inserter.
Nope, it's all real.
Okay, so we could see what's behind it. We could go further down the path to the apparently private beach.
Look behind bushes. It's hard to get a good look into the bushes with all this kudzu in the way. Dang, we need to get rid of it somehow. Actually, use H remover on bushes. Oh.
We are crushed under the buses.
We reset the device to H. There is a small smell of anise, and the bushes turn into some buses. There's a whole fleet of them. Perhaps every bus on the island. They're dusty. The road to Mian gets dry in the summer. Unfortunately, the buses are more than sufficient to bury us under their bulk. That is... yes. Undo that. Whoops. Okay.
Okay, so that's not gonna work.
Yeah. Use E remover on bushes. Okay, that's not a thing. Okay, bushes. Bushes, but spelled wrong, is not a thing. Look, bushes. Okay, the bushes are real.
Go north, see what's there.
Look behind bushes. Just this checking. Okay, cannot. Okay. Yeah, let's go north. Private beach. You know what? We'll try taking the kudzu after this. There's little more than a strip of fine yellow sand, perhaps 20 meters from side to side, and 5 from the hillside to the water line. A little sage grows on the hillside, escaped from some garden along with wider plants. Above at the top of the slope are houses with balconies overlooking the sea, but from this angle it's impossible to see much of them, or for them. You'll have to take my word on this for us to see. It's tempting to look for crabs among the rocks, but the tide is high just now, and even at the best of times, this is not an area rich with sea life.
Something green and plastic.
Just barely pokes out of the sand. Look green.
Okay, so sand. Maybe we could take some sand.
Mm-hmm.
If we get abstracts, and seems like a very useful one.
That is true.
If abstract ever become an option.
Sure, we could wander off with a handful of sand, but we could hardly shift any significant portion of the beach. Then we'd be making a mess and dribbling sand grains everywhere.
No container.
No container for sand.
Look plastic, I guess.
Yeah, look plastic.
Yeah, papa.
All that's visible from here is the tip of something green.
Take plastic?
Take plastic. We take the funnel. A gaudy green plastic toy suitable for funneling water and shaping conical sand turrets. It's all sandy. I see.
Wash funnel.
Ah.
We don't need it sandy. We don't want sand in the engines.
Yes. Wash funnel. Washing things in ocean water tends to leave them a bit gritty afterwards, or even stained with rings of dried salt. So yeah. Also, yeah, funnel
Funnel can be fuel, and sage can be gas.
It can? Oh, right, because we can remove the...
Maybe. If we can reverse it...
into a sag.
If a sag can be a thing, or if reversing it while it's on the pedestal works... I mean, or if removing the letter while it's on the pedestal works.
Let's see if this does anything. There's a mad scientist cackle, and the sage turns into a sag. The sag comes in the form of a doll-sized house with a distinct dip in the roof. Sure, okay. I'll buy it. Take funnel. Okay, we do already have
hang on. Just thinking here. I'm just thinking here.
Okay.
So we have two different things that we could turn into something with which to fuel the car.
Yes.
Right? We could do gas or we could do fuel.
Mm-hmm.
But we probably only need one.
True.
So is either of these likely to be useful in the future? Any other words we could make out of either of them?
We can make sage into age, but I don't think...
Sag is a dollhouse, which... Nah.
With a sagging roof, not very useful.
Right. Age... I mean, it's an abstract, but we might get abstracts eventually.
True.
Can we do anything with funnel? I mean, we can use it as a funnel.
True.
Right, to pour things into. That could actually be useful since we've got to pour it into the car.
Yeah, we could turn the funnel into fuel, of course.
Yeah. Is there anything else we could turn it into?
I don't think so.
Fun would require a lot of specific removals that we don't actually have.
True.
Right? Right, speculating about what we may or may not get, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it specifically talks about how the ban on creating but it specifically says it doesn't have enough power to reify abstracts,
mm-hmm.
and is legally prevented from making living things.
Yeah, there may be ways around that in the future.
We might get a more powerful remover without the legal restrictions.
True.
So I think the sage is going to be more useful because we might have some reason to want an age.
Agreed.
Whatever an age would be if that thing is made real.
Yes. That being said, self... Okay. Still wonder what's behind those bushes. Look, footpath. There are traces of sand on the pathway tracked up from the beach. Okay. Self again. Put...
Hang,
Okay, it does turn it into a cask of unleaded gasoline.
we could revert it. Hey, does the restoration gel work on mirrorings as well as letter removals?
I believe so.
Well, let's try it.
On gas. Yep, it goes back to Sage.
Okay, and let's see if there was that other idea I had. Right, that was what was it? Inventory. What? Right, there was the thing that right. We can't reify. We can't make a leer because it's an abstract.
We reset the device to S. The sage flickers and there is a brief image of an age in its place. The concept strangely embodied in physical form. Okay.
Yeah. So I just had the idea. I wonder if it's on the pedestal when we remove the letter, if we could skip over the fact, if we could skip over the intermediate that we can't do.
That's a good point. So
if you put
letter on pedestal.
Yeah.
Rattle. Okay. And
remove
T remover on rattle.
On letter.
Yeah.
It's not a rattle.
Okay, on letter.
Okay. No, it doesn't. It doesn't invert fast enough to.
Does not work that way. Good to know, just in case.
That would have been a really useful thing to have.
True.
That may or may not have been a useful thing to have.
Yes.
I have no idea. Maybe.
Take kudzu. Hello, Razir. We are playing Counterfeit Monkey, which is a text adventure where we are manipulating words.
Work in anything other than text.
Yes.
Also, hello, I'm here.
Yes, Miriam is here. Qwerty, she is my girlfriend.
I have many
Big
names.
hugs. Big hugs. Hello, Enderlord. Yes, take kudzu. Seems to be part of the bushes. Damn. How does one get rid of kudzu? Use K remover on kudzu. Yeah, and this is not a thing. Brr. Ah, mysterious. We will have to... I'll remember you, footpath. Let's go High Street. Go to High Street.
We'd probably have to come back here for the mirror at some point anyway.
True.
There's no way that gets implemented and only for this one puzzle.
Uh-oh.
Something happening.
The door to my parents' house opens and my father comes out as we pass by. He's talking over his shoulder. Sorry, dear, but someone has to be on call. The mother answers from inside, but we can't make out what she's saying. Surge on the grid, father replies. Could be an unauthorized synthesizer, but more likely, yes, exactly. I'll try to be home before the fireworks. Closes the door behind him. Hastily, I take off our monocle and palm it. Father shouldn't recognize us in our current body, but wearing expensive bureau equipment in his presence would be a terrible idea. We put the monocle into our backpack. Okay. Dangerous.
So, I don't remember.
Look that.
Was... No. Okay. He looks put out. Serial Comma Day is supposed to be a day off, even for him. My father sees us from a distance and gives a neighborly wave. Happy punctuating, he shouts. I wave back rather weakly. He gets on his small red scooter, checks his helmet, and revs off to the south. Off, apparently, to investigate the synthesizer that put us together. That will go slowly because of the holiday, but I'm guessing there will be Bureau investigators crawling all over the south side of town in an hour or two.
Interesting. Also, thank you, Fury, for the $10 donation. It's much appreciated. But yeah.
So, I don't remember. Was the reasoning for not going into the house Specifically the dad who works for the government, or the parents in general?
The parents in general, and also that
Because
we don't...
dad is no longer there.
True. Let's try it. Yeah. Walking into my parents' house is the action perhaps most likely to get us caught. Yeah, still can't do that.
Could have been interesting if it was only don't get caught by dad, but mom can maybe be trusted not to tell him.
True. Let's go south. Okay, and east. And I believe east again. Alright, that brings us to the turret. West, south,
East.
east. Yes, there we go. Hello, mechanic. Our car, a sub compact that looks like it might be outraced by a kid on a scooter, is parked nearby. Sorry, Enderlord, this is stuff that we have already done, so I was going through it quickly. We are now at new stuff, don't worry. We are narrating all of this, so anything that is not being narrated is stuff that has already been seen, and you will be able to catch in the VOD later. Don't worry, we're making sure everyone is having a good time. Give fuel to mechanic. Could you help me with this? We ask, indicating the fuel.
Just pour it in.
He says. Okay, put fuel in car. I deeply fear automotive maintenance, but I can just manage to pour in the fuel, and I think that's done it. Hooray! Get in car. And now we can finally go
Drive
southeast. Roundabout, jammed into the car. Yep, I had a feeling this would happen. We are jammed into the car with our knees almost at our chin, looking out through the bulbous...
You skipped a paragraph.
Right. We switch on the ignition and the car comes to life. Smelly, trembling, putt-putting life. But still not bad for something we conjured out of a vegetable picked outside my parents' place. The motor is growling like a house cat with pneumonia. The traffic flows in a tight circle around a statue, which we can never see clearly. The hundreds of people are carrying angry signs and wearing slogans. Confusing signs point in various directions: northeast to Deep Street, northwest to High Street, south to Long Street, east to Tall Street. The car is making an unpleasant raspy growl. They're honking at us for a reason, you know. Let me just take a look at that. Yeah, that's probably comparable to what this is meant to be.
I mean, probably even worse.
Yeah, probably even worse.
Because this was a bit of chard 10 minutes ago.
What Blue mentioned about the chard is that it is a remarkably, bland vegetable. So this is a remarkably bland car. Okay, which of these should we go down first? Well, the Counterfeit Monkey is off of Deep Street, so... The car was made out of a chard, C-H-A-R-D. Now let's go northeast. Deep Street jammed into the car. We are jammed into the car with our knee... it's already been said. The road descends steeply from southwest to northwest, passing between white concrete buildings to provide access to the marina, the fish market, the docks, and a bar or two. The street is in deep shadow, protected from sunlight from almost any angle by its narrowness and by the height of the walls. Yep, that is the correct order of things. Let's go east. No, not east. Wait, yes, east, I believe.
A bunch of ways we could go. East is one of them. West is... I can't read either of those. Those are not... one of them is tiny and the other is too fancy.
Yeah, I think we want to go east. No, I think we want to go west. So let's try
Northwest
west.
is...
Outdoor cafe. Oh, Since there's no way by road, we'll have to leave the car here. It is a moment's work to find a parking spot. We switch the ignition off. We open the car door and climb out of the car.
It's good that it automates all those steps.
I agree.
And what we've got is we have a letter remover, which can remove one letter at a time. And there is stationary, over halfway across town, a mirror that turns words backwards. At any step, it has to still be a word, and it has to still be specifically a non-abstract, right, a concrete noun, which is not a living thing. Though in some cases it can produce dead things, such as, like, dead fish.
Mm-hmm. From this slightly raised terrace, tourists have a view of the activity in the market and out over the docks. Curiously, there is an acquaintance of yours here. The Nexemi NGO is at one of the round black metal tables. He's a musician, the frontman of NGO. Your gang helped him out with some custom issues because of his unusual name. Nexami nods to us.
Watch out, that table next to you has something sticky spilled on it.
And indeed, there is a spill. You were about to lean on it nonchalantly. Thanks. Hey, thanks! He makes a "you're welcome" gesture and goes back to contemplating the sea view. Ask what he is doing in Atlantis. No, that is spelled wrong! Oops! So, what are you doing in Atlantis?
Doing a show tonight. Up on the city walls.
This was only partly a lie. You know that his main business in town is some sort of computer science contract, and that it's largely cover that his band is playing in the Serial Comma Day festives. Nexami stands up and mutters something. I have a little trouble with the Scottish accent.
Okay, that is not an accent I can do.
Okay. We don't get a lot of that around here for obvious reasons, but you interpret it as him saying he'd better go pay up. He heads into the interior of the cafe. Neat. Use S remover on spill. Wait, no. Use P remover on spill to see if this does anything.
We have a board.
There's a flash of psychedelic colors, and the spill turns into a sill. It is a bit useless and disembodied without an accompanying window, but here it is, a board of white painted wood. Okay, use gel on sill. Use P remover on spill. Oh, undo. I did that mistake. That was a mistake. Use S remover on spill. There's a smell of anise, and the spill turns into a pill. It is a small, round, and blue. There is no brand or generic markings on it to indicate what it might do. Okay, take pill. Now we just have that in case we need it. Let's look around.
It occurs to me that we may want to close the backpack.
Yes, close backpack.
It's kind of annoying that it just defaults to open as soon as we take anything out of it and doesn't.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Close.
Yeah.
But, like, we've got some things in there that are at least suspicious.
Yeah.
Even if the plans are now just a pan.
Yeah, excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay, let's go to the fish market. There's a whole bunch of fun stuff in the fish market. Yeah, that's north. Not very fishy at the moment. In fact, all the real trade happens in the early morning. Then there is a period of tourist trade when the seafood sale trails off, and most of the purchases are of polished conch shells and starfish. And then a little afternoon, the area clears out completely, leaving only briny riblets on the concrete. A tall, stern woman is standing in the middle of the market. She wears a black caped uniform of an authenticator and a monocle just like mine, and I don't think I want her to see us.
That is a good point, because
Yes.
she would see two people.
Yes.
That's not good.
Yes. Just east of here is a rusting corrugated tin building, which was built to house various possessions of the fishermen.
Probably leave
Yes.
before remembering that,
Yeah.
just in case.
Yeah. Let's
Don't want to get arrested for being two people.
let's just go to the east. Most of the light in here comes from circular windows punched into the tin walls just under the ceiling. From the inside, the building looks both larger and more sound than it appears from the outside. There are plenty of sturdy struts supporting the roof and keeping the walls upright. Various tarpaulin-covered masses fill the room. A trapdoor is set in the floor. Sometimes smugglers and forgers have been known to stash things in here, since the building is close to the docks, but rarely attracts the interest of custom officials. We catch our breath and look over our belongings to see if anything suspicious is showing. The S-remover might be a little too conspicuous. Ominous sounds come through the windows, but we're at a wrong angle to see out. Oh dear. Remember... memories. Remember our crew's attitude to Atlantis law. Did I spell that wrong? Remember crew's attitude. Maybe that works. There we go. You, Brock, and Slango were sitting around the built-in table aboard Slango's yacht, using Brock's laptop to plan upcoming jobs. We've got time before Cairo, Brock said. What do you think of this one? Slango grimaced. Pays chicken shit, and what's a job, getting a name like Nixami past Atlantine border control? So some guy can go on a concert tour? Come on, where does that go on a resume? Right after, brought down international conspiracy by Sibilant Solutions? It's hiring a neuro-oncologist words to treat your pet gerbil. We get ourselves credentials, Brock remarked. It's not exactly the most solid, upstanding, ordinary name, guys. Because in our line of work, it's useful not to be. Plus, I would do a job for myself, then I wouldn't do it for anyone else, obviously. This is a job for a virtuoso, Brock said. Pure challenge, no obvious social engineering solutions. Not to mention, if it turns out we can't deliver... Jeez, where is it? What's this guy going to do about it? He's a musician. Slango still didn't look impressed. It's breaking Atlantine law, Brock added, temptingly. And there's no law that needs breaking. More than Atlantine law, you and Slango chorused with him. Point taken, said Slango. Okay, we planned evidence that Nixami is a traditional ethnic Basque name. You know he was born in Glasgow. Then we're back in the present. Fantastic. Okay, let's look around a bit. Look masses.
There was the specific reminder that we had that we had stuff that was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And closed backpack.
Closed backpack. More racket comes in through the windows. Oh boy. We should probably go down.
Okay, so if we turned the struts into a strut, the building would probably collapse.
Yes, then we would die. Let's try not to die.
Yeah.
Okay, down the trapdoor. An awkward, low, concrete-lined crawl space beneath the tin hut. It smells somewhat like animals. In spite of this, clearly gets a bit more use than anyone would like the custom officials to know about. The trapdoor, wedged open by nothing, admits the only light. The only significant thing down here is a crate. Trapdoor makes a creaking noise and slams shut again. I do not like being in the dark in a confined space with potential rats. Sorry, I'm getting us out of here. You can come back later. No, that's a fair point. Okay. We are not allowed to go into the trapdoor because it is very scary for Alex inside of us. Okay. Yeah, wave, Actually, no, if we can't remove the S from struts. It would remove both of the struts.
You're right.
Then it would be a trut. I don't think a trut is a thing.
Okay, we could pull off the tarpaulins and see what's under them.
Okay. Pull.
I have no idea, right? Just...
Tarpaulin. Okay, look, masses.
You misspelled it.
Ah, yes, I did. From the shapes visible under the blue plastic, it appears that they are probably tables and stalls, buckets, signs, and other necessary features of the fish market when sales are in progress. There's a flattish area we could probably scramble onto. Okay, pull off tarpaulin, but spelt correctly this time. Right? Nope, remove yeah, uncover masses. Let's try that. Thank you, Enderlord. That's not something we can... They aren't something we can open. Darn. Words are hard sometimes. Let's try remove tarpaulin. Okay, no. Remove tarp. Okay. Take tarp. It all looks fairly heavy, but not useful. Also, and I realize this weighs more with me than you, I think the people who own it might mind the loss. It is not becoming very ye cannot get ye flask. This is very... We are trying to figure out what the exact word we need to use is. That is different from this. Anyway, I think it's safe to just leave. Let's just...
Oh, hey, the guard is no longer there.
Hooray! No more guard lady.
I mean, that is somewhat worrying, because there was a lot of noise outside, and now the guard is gone.
True. That is concerning. But,
oh, wait, no. Yeah, she was... Never mind, she was there. Before Fish Market.
Yes.
Wait a second. No.
What? What?
Read it. We slip out, she makes one more turn in place, monocled gaze sliding across us without stopping, and then she strides away to the north.
Uh-oh.
We were seen with the monocle.
Okay.
This is a problem.
Uh-oh. That's not good. Well, maybe because she didn't focus on us, she won't notice. And she's going north instead of accosting us. I'm sure.
And yeah, everything was right. Everything's in the backpack, right? We don't have the letter room.
Everything is in the backpack, so that is good at least.
And the backpack's closed.
Mm-hmm. Well, north. Here are some dozens of boats tied up. Some of them are small to medium-sized fishing craft, some tourist boats for trips around the island, some merely ferries to the deeper harbor where the cruise ships anchor. To the east, up a moderate rise from the sea level docks, is the imposing exterior of the customs house. The classical look is only a little undermined by the public service posters along the front. Their passports are inspected and cargo passed under authentication, foreign items renamed or confiscated, and suspected smugglers interrogated. Immediately west, a sign advertised a pub called the Counterfeit Monkey. To clarify, Enderlord, our character who we're playing as is two people who got smushed together into one person. Because one of them is a criminal and needs a disguise, and decided that the best disguise would be to just smash herself up with another person.
The other person was okay with it.
Yep.
Though it is possible that she didn't know the full story at the time.
Yeah.
Also, it's illegal just to have done that.
Yes, that as well.
So the process of doing the thing which provided the disguise has made things worse.
Yes, slightly worse. Slightly worse. Looks like.
Because now, if she looks at us, then A, she would see. Oh. Well, is that? I don't think we've actually seen that yet.
Yeah, there's been no actual mention of what our goal is other than get out of here. So I don't actually know that.
And I guess both people involved do want to get out of here.
Yeah, it was my understanding that we are criminal, and we want to get out of here.
Both people involved want to leave the country.
Yes. In the picture, a villainous man threatens a cage full of tiny primates with a primitive Victorian letter remover. In the background is an enormous bag of cash. It was not explained at the start. But yes, I see. Look, that is a good sign for the counterfeit monkey. And implies that we were right, and they did in fact turn monkeys into money. Oh, let's go to the west. It takes a minute for us to adjust to the light in here, built when people were a bit shorter and ceilings were a bit lower. The counterfeit monkey is always smoky and never well lit. And Slango is not here. This is bad. Even I can see this is bad. What happened to your confidence in your team? Where are the guys who are supposed to get us out of here? Something must have gone wrong. Help. You can do this voice.
Help you?
Asked Parker the barman, unenthusiastically. Ask if he has seen Slango. I wonder whether you've seen an associate of mine, we say to Parker. Name of Slango. Parker looks over at the bar at us.
He comes in here from time to time. Very regular customer. Always has about 3 rum and cokes.
This is a lie, and therefore a test. Slango doesn't drink alcohol himself and doesn't permit drunkenness in his crew. Challenge Parker about the rum. Which is sure a sentence. Must be a different Slango, we say. Mine is more of a root beer man. Thanks anyway, though.
Oh, that's Slango.
Parker says, thoughtfully moving the origin paste sitting on the bar. He's been around
the last couple of days, but not today. If you know his lady friend, you might try her.
Lady friend? This can only mean Lena, she being the only female native with whom Slango spends much time socially. But you wouldn't have guessed that she'd advanced to the status of a lady friend. Either way, Lena is a rather odd woman who keeps a used bookstore off Deep Street.
What is the origin paste? Look at what the origin paste is, I'd say, first.
Look at origin paste. A cake of pale purple. It is able to disguise letter-reformed objects so that they don't look like obvious frauds, or even show up under authentication. The only problem with it is the distinctive smell. The origin paste is powerful stuff, and worth a good bit of money. Interesting.
Huh. Okay, so that tells us a few things. That is a thing we could use for smuggling purposes.
Uh-huh.
But that also tells us that there might be things the gel would work on that we can't tell the gel would work on just from the monocle.
That is true.
What does it smell like? Smell origin paste.
Smell origin paste. Lavender raps back at us.
It smells like lavender. Okay, so if anything smells like lavender...
We're gonna have to go smell that kudzu at some point. Ask if we can have origin paste. That origin paste for sale?
Well, now,
He
that
says
would surely be illegal, would it not? Origin paste is, after all, a controlled substance in this country due to its unhappy association with fraudulent activities. On the other hand, there is no law against someone winning the origin paste in a completely legitimate game of chance or skill.
Ooh. Ask how one might go about winning. How do I win the game? Explain this game as though I have no idea what you're talking about, you say, leaning on the bar in an interested fashion. Are you flirting with Parker? No? Okay, good to know.
It's a designated challenge game,
Says Parker. You've seen this played out before, but he explains the rules anyway.
There are 2 contestants, 1 challenger and 1 defender. The challenger chooses any object he likes and shows it to the moderator ahead of time. The defender, without seeing the object, stipulates a general category. The challenger has 5 minutes to turn his designated object into an item that fits the defender's category, or he forfeits his ante.
I'd like to play the game, but first, remember past experiences playing games. The 3 of you were watching the contest at Counterfeit Monkey. This time the prize was a bottle of Dovewing Absinthe, and the latest contestant was trying to letter remove her way to an object the size of a pebble. Slango lifted his root beer. These guys are in a rut. It's all make a liquid and size-based challenges. I want to see some demanding categories. Strawberry scented, paisley, pachyderm themed. You shrugged. People L remove tiles, you said. You can get a letter-made tie any color you want. Important category 5, Brock says. Now that would be a strong challenge category. Under Atlantine law, custom laws, import category 5 means anything that are edible, but not fruits or vegetables. Everything from drugs to chicken breasts. Clear, but it rules out a lot of overly productive agricultural words. And we're back in the present.
So what do we have? Inventory and what is in the vicinity that we might work with?
Inventory.
And I guess we do the challenge and then we see what he's asking.
Yeah.
Because there's no timer.
Yeah, there is no timer.
Assuming we don't have to leave unless we have to leave. Oh, we should probably put this other stuff in the backpack also.
Yes. Put all in backpack. Close backpack. We'll get to you, Parker.
Play the game.
Yeah. Play the game. I'd like to play for the origin paste, we say.
Excellent. Oh, I did mention the small matter of the entry fee.
I get out the roll of bills and he peels off 2 20s.
What's in the area? Were there tiles? No, hang on. These guys are in a rut. It's all, what was it? It's all...
Tie.
What was it? Liquids and
size stuff.
So what do we have in inventory?
Our inventory is backpack, flash drive, monocle, pan, roll, S remover, tub of restoration gel, apple, asparagus, clock, guidebook, jotter, letter, line, may, pearl, pill, sage, and toe.
Okay, so the apple could be ale, that's a liquid.
Mm-hmm.
Sage cannot be gas because we don't have the mirror here.
Yeah.
We do not have any... we do not have any letter adders.
Yeah.
We can remove a letter and we can reset things to what they were.
Yes.
If we could get to the mirror that's halfway across town, we could mirror things, but there's a 5-minute time limit.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's going to be the apple under the assumption that they're going with size-based categories. Or the pill, because that could be spill, and it could also be sill.
True. It's
Pill or apple?
okay. Topic. Okay. No. Pick your entry article, and I'll ask one of these good gentlemen to Suggested
Take
defense code.
pill.
Ask about rules. Okay, no.
Take pill, I guess.
Pick pill, let's say. Okay.
Okay.
Take pill out of backpack.
Show pill.
We pick up the pill. There's a... Yeah. Show pill. Right, says the barman. The pill it is. He turns around the group assembled around the dartboard.
Anyone want to defend against this character?
A liquid, says the gruff man.
You always say liquid.
Complains one of the others. It's his
This is
favorite
the
thing,
rule.
says a third. But the ante is submitted and the challenge set. So, use gel on pill.
Gel on pill.
You dip out a fingertip coating quantity of gel and rub it gently onto the pill. With an audible splort, the pill becomes a spill,
A winner.
says the barman, straightening up.
What do you know? The origin paste is all yours, darling.
This produces a squawk of surprise and irritation from the defendant, and you get the impression that this game has been agreeably fleecing tourists all day. Pity you had to come along and spoil it. The spill drips through our fingers onto the floor.
Probably want to clean that up.
Yeah. Clean spill. Better...
I mean, remove the S and take the pill.
Okay, yes. Use S remover on spill. Okay. Take pill. To be fair, that's because we're very smart, Blue.
And also because we just happened to have two things on hand that can turn into liquids.
Yes.
And have been here before and knew that they were probably going to go with liquids.
Yeah. Like, if it was a size-based thing, we put out the pear and turn it into a pea, as an example as well.
That's only if it's small.
Yes, as any other games.
Given that the game asks us to... Given that the game asks us to pick and then tells us,
Mm-hmm.
even though narratively the other person... Right, even though narratively the other person doesn't know what we picked before they say,
Mm-hmm.
I bet if we had picked the pair, it would have been something small.
Probably.
And I don't know. I wonder if they have something for every object we might have at this point,
Potentially.
or if you could potentially just pick something that's no good.
Maybe.
If they wanted something large, the thicket could have been a ticket.
The
ticket could have been a thicket.
That is true. Take origin paste. We pick up the origin paste. Woo.
Da da da
Da
da.
da da da.
We probably want to put it in the backpack and close the backpack.
Yeah. Put origin paste in backpack. Close backpack.
Also the pill and the remover.
Put all in backpack. Close backpack. There we go.
Should we paste ourselves just in case of another guard?
She's already seen us, so that'd be a little
She's
risky.
looked past us. We have to
That is true.
actually
That is
stare
true.
at it.
That is true. Use origin paste on self. We open the backpack. We surreptitiously smear some of the origin paste onto ourselves. Nothing obvious happens, of course, but that is the whole point. Hooray! Let's look at our
Admittedly,
score.
now we smell of lavender.
True, but I mean, we're a fancy lady, potentially. We just are wearing perfume. We've
It's
used...
still a suspicious color scent of perfume,
True.
potentially.
Yeah.
Assuming that the cops know about this stuff.
True. It is a suspicious smell. Go to Rogue clothes.
Wait, what?
Smell kudzu. Smells as I would have expected. God damn it! We needed to see if it smelled like lavender.
There's a lot of things that may or may not smell like lavender.
Yeah. Dang it. Okay. Use gel on bushes, just because I'm here. Okay. Go to Counterfeit Monkey. There, now we're back there. Okay.
We have a quick drive as far as Deep Street, then we find a... It narrates the whole trip.
Yep, it's fascinating.
I guess because it needs to work out where the car ends up.
Yeah.
Good that it can figure that out, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, that it can track, okay, to get here you would need to drive from here to here, and that's a thing we can do, and now the car is here.
Yep. Okay, let's go east into Deep Street. Docks. South Fish Market.
I mean, there are other things we could talk to the barman about.
You know what, that's true. I'm rushing. Let's go to Counterfeit Monkey. Spelt that wrong again. Topic. Talk to barman. We wave. Topics. Ask how long he has worked at the bar. How long have you been working at this pub? We ask. And do you like it? He wrinkles his nose.
Word of advice, don't go around asking questions like that down here.
Fair enough.
So ask what he thinks about the Bureau, ask whether he hates customs officials, probably both are going to be the same.
Yeah.
Given that this is a notorious smuggler's club.
Yeah, we're in a crime bar right now. I don't really want to ask any of these questions. I don't want to get knifed.
We could do it anyway.
True.
Just...
Ask whether he believes in God. Where do you stand on God? We ask.
Don't give it much thought. Please don't tell me you're here with a pamphlet. I won't read it.
Fair point.
Why was this a question?
I don't know. It's just interesting. Ask what he thinks about the Bureau. What's your opinion on the Bureau of Orthography?
I think it's just that little bit more corrupt and oppressive than usual for a government body.
He says.
I'm not in favor, but I don't fool myself that everything would be wine and roses everywhere else either.
Fair. That's a markedly level response. Here, let's...
Yeah, I mean...
He likes...
He has just said out loud that he's not in
officials.
favor, but,
True.
like, not too strongly.
Okay. Ask whether he hates custom officials. I spelt this wrong, didn't I?
Custom.
Yes. Ask whether he hates custom officials.
Spelled wrong again.
Ah, damn it. How
Customs.
How...
Plural. I mean, not plural, but Customs.
Ah, yes, I forgot the... I'm very smart. Do you hate the custom officials? We ask.
Nah,
No.
not running anything myself, am I?
Fair point.
This is the smuggler's bar, but he's just running the bar.
Yeah, like, I'm running a legitimate business here. They're the criminals.
As far as you know.
Yeah.
Miss asking lots of suspicious questions.
Yes. Okay. East. South. And onwards to southeast, Deep Street. This road descends steeply from southwest to northwest, passing between white concrete buildings. The aquarium bookstore is to the east. It is an esoteric bookstore and purveyor of other things, but one whose owner has helped you in the past. That would be Lena, the woman that we need to talk to about Slango. Our car is parked nearby. Okay. Go to bookstore. The shop takes its name from the collection of fish mounted on every wall. Swordfish, bass, other things I don't recognize. Underneath these dubious tokens, the walls are covered with bookshelves, and there are stacks of books on the floor where the shelves have proven insufficient. The merchandise consists mainly, but not exclusively, of books, and the selection caters to odd tastes. You once picked up in here a book about a man who removed a wrench and then had his way with it. You. You and Brock had a good time with that one for the next month and a half. Goodness. Lena is present, all right. In fact, she watches us keenly the instant we come into the shop. Lena is an associate of Slango's. You hadn't realized that he'd cross over into a romance. Slango has never, ever, in your recollection, dated anyone. And now this.
Happy Serial Comma Day. Glad to see you've got plenty of origin paste. It's such a useful thing to have. Smells so... nice.
We could ask whether she has seen Slango, or say who we are.
Okay, yeah, so she knows.
Yes.
This is apparently a very obvious smell.
Yeah, very, very powerfully
Put it in
lavender.
the bag. It is in the bag, right?
It is in the bag. Say who
Double
we are.
check?
Lena, it's Andra and company. Maybe Slango mentioned that I was auditioning a new silent partner?
I don't know what you're talking about. But since you're here, whoever you are, I wonder whether you'd like to have a look at some merchandise of mine that could use a spruce.
Aha! She wants us to prove our identity. Probably has contraband that needs concealing and wants us to do the deed as proof of our trustworthiness. There's a brief pause. Lena goes off into a corner and rummages among the suspicious pile of books and uncovers a box.
Come here.
She says, and obediently I wander over to that area of the store, which incidentally happens to be tucked away and half hidden by shelves.
See here. See what you can do with it, eh?
Okay. Look.
Look!
Okay.
Look box.
Okay. Look box. It's just a cardboard box in which some items of interest have been stored. In the contraband box are some modems and some preamps. Lena apparently wants our help getting them into a less identifiable format. Okay, look modems. If Brock were here, he would know exactly what made these interesting and valuable. All you can guess is that they're not a form approved by the government. Look, preamps.
Preamp.
What is a preamp?
It's a thing for...
They aren't in themselves restricted technology, but the Atlantean government slaps a very high tariff on any kind of electronic device not manufactured on the island. It's especially annoying and needless in the case of audio equipment for which there's no local manufacturer. I see.
Oh, like before, like a guitar amp.
Oh, okay, I see.
Okay, so well, yeah, the preamp could be a ream, could be reams. Large quantity of paper.
That's a thing?
Ream is the mass noun for paper, as in a ream of paper.
Fascinating. I didn't know that at all.
I think that's what it is.
Use P remover on preamps. We reset the device to P. There's a distinct spearmint flavor, and the preamps turn into some reams. Since each ream is 500 sheets of paper, and there are many reams here, the collection is unhelpfully bulky. Lena considers the heaps of reams contemplatively. That's inconvenient, isn't it? She says. And I have a bookstore, not an office supply store.
I mean, we could turn it now into a ream.
Tease Lena. May I recommend you branch out into office supply, you ask. It's a lucrative business. Pamphlet printing is very popular with the subversive element.
Not as lucrative as untariffed electronics.
Okay.
Calmer, or just do it directly?
Calm, Lena. That's not a verb I recognize. Okay.
Topics.
Topics.
Okay, yeah, so
Okay.
so we're past the...
Yeah, okay.
So I guess it was choose one.
Okay. Use
Super.
S remover on reams. One ream, which is to say 500 sheets of paper, of generic printer or copier paper in white. That works. No, hey, this is your line.
Kind of thing I might have around for printing invoices on. I was a little afraid there you were going to go for a RAM just to spite me. Don't know where I'd put one of those around here.
That's a good point. I could do a RAM. Now
Well, no, hang on. Preamp. So we would still have to go to Reams.
Mm-hmm.
And then from Reams, could we go for RAM without going through Ream?
I don't believe.
Yes. Yes, we could remove E and have RAMs. And that would be even worse than Reams.
Yes, multiple RAMs. Oh no. Now, how do we do modems?
Modems.
I guess.
Modems.
I guess removing the S would be a good step forward.
It'd be smaller, but.
Oh, actually, wave M remover at modems. Wow, that's a lot of text. We reset the device to M. With a distinct whiff of old book, the modems turn into some odes. A slender volume of poetry bound between red covers. It looks completely harmless and is written in English. The blurb on the back describes it as a collection of meditations on Atlantis' imaginary roots, which is to say a lot of stuff about magic-wielding Phoenicians, Knights Templars, refugees from the Tower of Babel, space aliens, Kabbalist mysticism, and lullies, combinatorics. It fits in perfectly with the rest of Lena's selection. Really amazing work. I've seen other people who were able to do impressive things with local field distortions. Think hard enough and you can prejudice the outcome of a linguistic transition. But this is detail work I haven't seen. My hat is off. Or would be, if I were wearing a hat and taking it off didn't mean making you take it off too. Lena touches the binding appreciatively.
You've even got that little bit of creasing in the spine that makes it look used. This is perfect. Only risk is customers wanting to buy it. I've got a couple. This would be right up their alley.
Okay, cool. Ask about Slango.
What else could that have been?
I'm not sure.
Modems. Could it have been anything else, or was it just odes?
Well,
and also, this is starting to get into somewhat less commonly known words here.
Yeah. Now, if we remove the S, we could make it a single ode, which would be different from a book. A book of odes. We could.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that. But that wouldn't actually be better.
True.
Because then it'd be like one index card with a poem on it.
Yes. Very good for hiding. Now, if we removed the D, that would be moem, which is not a thing. I bet if we looked at them with the monocle, we would be able to tell that maybe these are not what they appear to be as well.
Well, yeah, because it
is contraband.
Origin based.
True. Anyway, ask about Slango now. You wouldn't happen to have seen Slango about recently, we ask.
Slango?
She asks blankly, for all the world as though she's had a lobotomy.
Is that a board game?
No. That was a rhetorical question. That's your line.
Nice monocle, by the way. You do have all the good toys. Suppose it means you can check your work and see whether you've really got enough paste on things.
Interesting.
Right. So first off, look at self.
Look self. I don't think anything about us is out of place. We are female, though a little taller and leaner than average, and with slightly boyish facial features. It's nothing that would attract attention, though.
Enough paste on ourselves.
Put all in backpack.
No, she's just making a point about...
Oh, okay, I see. She's being a little snippety about it. Put on monocle. Okay, and use origin paste on ream. We smear some of the origin paste onto the ream. Nothing obvious happens, of course, but that is the whole point.
And the odes.
Yep, use origin paste on odes.
And we should probably... Hang on, so we didn't actually have the monocle on before because we accidentally put it in the backpack.
Yeah, we put it
So
on the
this-
backpack when our dad came out.
Yeah. So best check ourselves.
Okay. Look, self.
With the monocle now.
Yeah, I believe I tried this when we first played, and we cannot actually see the indicator that says that we are not us. It's weird. Regardless,
She
monocle.
is trusting us enough now.
Yes.
I'm not reading this.
Yeah, we're not. We're going to ignore that.
But he got bad news and had to hurry back to the yacht. Said something about not being able to keep an appointment. I take it you're the appointment? I can try reaching him for you if you want.
Encourage Lena to contact Slango. That would be extremely helpful, we say. Perhaps we can finally get off this island and back into our separate skins, which would not be 1 minute too soon for me.
Very good.
She says. She goes over to one of the freestanding shelves and takes out copies of Quagmire Manifesto and 70 Ways to Disable an Authentication Scope. Behind these works of literature, she finds what looks like a cellular phone, but mustn't be one, or at least not of the usual variety, because the Bureau tightly controls such items. We hear half of a conversation.
It's me. There's someone to see. Yes, I had her do the contraband. I don't know. A little taller and a lot less mean. Oh, I see. She looks healthy enough. I'm not running a restaurant. Okay, I'll talk to you later, sweetie. Bye.
Without meeting our eye, she buries the phone back into its previous location. Then she says,
He's coming in direct. He says go over to Counterfeit Monkey and he will be right over as originally planned, and he's sorry about the wait.
Understandable.
Oh, and have a drink on me.
Okay. Thank Lena. Thank you. We owe you one.
I get my money's worth out of Slango, don't worry.
Jesus. Okay.
Check the coin. Coin might not just be a coin.
Look, coin. It appears to be a Roman coin of very low denomination. Your knowledge, not mine. Should I ask how you know such things? It is made of copper and has the letters SC stamped on one side, with a dismissive blat from the monocle, and transposed over the as is a faint greenish image of a pastis. What is a pastis?
I don't know what that is, but also... No, don't use the gel.
Okay.
Don't use the gel, because I'm trying to figure out how this could even have happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I notice that one of the letters in there that one of the potential words as a midpoint is past. And if it's past, then we are not going to be able to get it back through to being a small, easily concealed coin. Unless we can do abstracts.
Yeah. Also, Blue has informed us via chat that a pastis is a type of drink. So, nice joke on Lena's part there with the have a drink on me. Ha ha.
The coin is not, in fact, to pay for a drink.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a beverage.
It is, in fact, the drink. Okay.
Okay, so...
Put
yeah, no. Okay, so...
Close.
I mean, we could gel it, but... Right, and just have the drink.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what else that's useful for. Do we want to do that? Or...
I remember Alex's thoughts mentioning that we're feeling nauseous because of the fusion, so probably we can't drink it. And this pastis might not be for us.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll keep that in mind, though. Okay, west. Lena's. Okay, sound's over.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. We were just waiting for the sounds to end.
this would be a good time to stop for lunch and a little siesta,
says Lena, following us to the door. As we go out, she's rolling down the shades and putting up a close sign. And so we return to the Deep Street. Our pathetic little car is parked right outside Aquarium Bookstore. Okay.
Do we just go directly to the monkey?
Yep. Go to the Counterfeit monkey. We have a brief walk through the Marina District.
So past this is apparently a liquor.
Ah, yes. Slango sits at a dark table, nursing a root beer. Slango is, of course, not Slango's real name. He is half criminal, half ideological revolutionary, uncouth, restless, always hungry for a new exploit. Had he been born in a freer society, he might have become a very valuable engineer or consultant. He has been your mentor in crime and your usher into the world of adults. Slango meets our eyes for a long moment without smiling. Give me just a moment to put on some more music, because it stopped. Say who we are. Slango, you say. Lena gave me a totally unwanted visual about various things. Guess you've got a yak sense of clock time. It was an emergency. Figured you'd go to Lena, and I was right. You were lucky. I know her a little, and I had no idea you two were... Jesus. No such thing as a Bactrian yak, Slango replies. My apologies. I assume that what Brock knows, he passes on to you, and he certainly knows about me and Lena. He scowls into his root beer. Nearly gave me a hernia laughing, Slango adds under his breath. Explain Brock's probable reasons. She's old enough to be your spinster aunt and flaky enough to tell your fortune with half a tarot deck and a couple of Uno cards, you say. We haven't got a lot of clues about what your type is, but I doubt Brock would have guessed Lena. She's 32, says Slango crisply. She runs Radio Free Atlantida single-handedly with electronics she built herself. If she were old enough to be my spinster aunt, that would still be my business. So I guess you guys are pretty serious then, you say. I give her and me better odds than you and Brock. Mutter darkly. I grumble under our breath about people who are hung up on their personal issues when there are useful jobs to be done. Slango pretends not to hear. Over the voice of the crowd comes the sound of the barman sitting out another round. Brock's run into a little trouble pursuing a profitable opportunity. Ask what the trouble is. Ask what the trouble was. Define trouble. I had a pickup arranged to get him off the island shore all the way down to Mayan last night, but he didn't make it and sent no messages. I checked the contact in bureau processing, and no arrest file has gone through, so Brock hasn't been caught. He's just missing. Squabble breaks out over the darts board. We can't leave without Brock, Slango says, as though you needed persuading. Or maybe he's saying that to the me half of us. Right now, it's true that I'm not keen on the prospect of hanging out in Atlantis. We're already way behind the plan. Okay. Complain about inefficiency. Sorry, I have to get this out there. I was really expecting a smoother escape plan when I arranged to work with your operation, I say. Slango eyes us with disfavor. Andre, you got a moron up in your head. Kid, Alex, we aren't travel agents. Raised voices near the bar interrupt you for a moment. I've got to get back to the yacht. It's empty, Slango says. And I would prefer not to let the bureau get a good look at me while your current face is, shall we say, disposable. The trick is, we don't know where Brock is. If you left a message for us, it'll be at a dead drop. That's a spot at the public convenience by the town bus station where the three of you leave messages for one another when necessary. Usually quiet, yet anonymous. We're on it, we say. Glad to hear, says Slango. Now, stop referring to yourself as we in company. This gives us something to go on anyway. We give Slango what I intend as a reassuring nod of...
solidarity.
Nod of solidarity. Had to find my place. Back to the yacht for me, Slango says. Don't let the other half of your head do anything you wouldn't do. Which of us are you talking to? I ask smartly. Both.
Both.
He heads out towards the docks and quickly disappears from view, returning to the yacht to wait for us to arrive with Brock. Okay. Goals. Check the dead drop. The public convenience. Where is that? At the bus station, I guess. Yes, looking at the map, that would be where it is. Okay. I guess we can go now. Although, how are y'all feeling right now? People who are watching and also Miriam in chat in call.
Time's getting on a bit.
Yeah. I believe it's almost supper time for you.
This is a fairly reasonable stopping point. There's one goal to go to.
Yeah, and
Right? We're not at a big branch point.
Yeah, we also just got more or less the main goal that we were trying to get at the start, only to have a new wrinkle appear. So this
I mean, of course, there's going to be a new wrinkle.
Oh, of course. So yeah, this seems like a good place to call it.
But also, check what the score is.
Yes.
Because there might be... Because it just...
Save
I don't know.
and score. You've earned 38 points. 1 point for using the letter remover, 3 points for passing through the temporary barrier, 3 points for winning the gel, 1 point for using the gel, 3 points for opening the locker, getting the backpack, repairing the car, 1 point for using the spinner, 3 points...
Using this... Is that the mirror?
That's the mirror, because it spins it around.
I still would have called that the mirror. That's a much more useful word for what it actually does.
Yeah. 3 points for fueling our car, 5 points for traveling by car, 3 points for winning a barroom bet, 1 point for using the origin paste, 3 points for arranging contact with Slango through his lady friend, 5 points for meeting Slango. We have yet to remove A, C, G, I, J, K, Q, R, T, V, W, Y, or Z from anything. And we have finished the tutorial mode, achievement-wise.
Anything we can do to remove a few more of those letters before we go. Just as a whole big batch thing.
You know what? Yeah.
What do we got? Anyone and everyone. Come on, ideas.
Yeah, throw us some word.
Maybe it's completely useless, but I mean, come on.
Throw us some word ideas.
Best show the inventory on what's in the area.
Yes, good idea. Inventory. Inventory.
Pearl without an A is probably abstract, but it is a word.
It is true. Well, we're trying to use up letters just to see if we can
do letters we haven't done before.
Yeah, so... Yep, we could do that.
Turn the clock back into a lock.
Use C remover on clock. Bajunk. Oh, wait.
Oh.
We cannot do that. Right.
Right, no, because in the memory, it was a first letter razor.
Yes.
To do that.
Right, we can't do that. Use a remover on Pearl.
Nope, that's too abstract.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have just been a bit of knitting.
True.
Right? But, fine. Hang on. I have an idea.
Yeah.
It may or may not be a completely terrible idea.
Oh, yes?
Wave Q remover at Q remover.
Yeah, sure, let's try this. We set the device to Q. This is physically impossible as well as pointless.
So, If we had 2 removers,
We could
I
do
would very
that.
much like to see what a remover. Right, if we ever get access to a second way of removing letters, I would like to see what a remover without a letter setting does.
Likewise.
But it looks like we don't actually have that.
Yeah, not quite. Okay, if
Good that they thought of that.
yeah, this game has a lot of like stuff in.
Ill is probably abstract.
Yeah, use P remover from pill. See, you say that, but also yes, on pill. Because you say that, but we can turn sage into sag, which is a little abstract.
Yeah.
But yes, no, illness is a little too.
Toe?
A T remover from toe?
E remover.
Oh, E remover. Use E remover. Remover on toe.
Nope.
A 2 is not a thing.
2 is not even an abstract noun.
Nope, it's just it is a word that
It is a word with no direct corresponding concept.
it is mouth sounds.
What else we got? Pull up the inventory again? I feel like there's got to be something we've missed.
You know what? We never made the ale, so use
Yeah, but we've done L from other things.
that it. Well, we
Right.
removed the P from anything?
I mean, you could check the score again.
Yeah, let's just check the score again. We have used P on something.
We have used P, we have used L.
Yes.
Pull up inventory, see what we got.
Okay.
Okay. A. What of these has A in them? Pan,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually plans, but no version of that works without its only vowel.
Yeah.
Tub of restoration gel was valid as just tub, and it used to be tubed,
Mm-hmm.
but tube isn't a thing.
Yeah.
Oob, UBE, is that a thing? That feels like it should be a thing.
It's not, though, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, this has had some weird words.
That is true. We do have an ass.
We have an as, we have a... and the as used to be something else as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
You've already saved. Let's change it back.
What?
Change it back, see if we can drink it.
You know what? Yeah, let's do that. Use gel on S. We acquire the We dip our fingertip coating quantity of gel and rub it gently on the ass. With an audible splort, the ass become a pastis, an anise-flavored liqueur. It's an acquired taste, but now that I've acquired it, I like to exercise the acquisition as frequently as possible. You may not be as big a fan, for which I apologize in advance. Drink pastis. We sip a little to pastis. Delicious and cooling. Drink pastis again. Better not drink all of it. This stuff goes to my head, and we still have a lot of work to do.
Right,
Okay, nope.
Patty.
Use T remover on pastis. Just experimenting, but yeah.
Okay, so there is nothing else useful to do with this.
Yeah, just nice drink to have.
It is a beverage.
Hooray for beverages.
Though I don't think there's any reason to, like, save that change.
Yeah, we're not going to save that change.
I'm not sure what else it could possibly be useful for, but, like...
We gotta save this for when we're done. We finish, we get out of Atlantis, we get Alex cut out of our body, have this drink.
Well, Alex has the drink.
Well, yes.
Sandra does not like the drink.
True. Like, we give to Alex. But yeah, this has been super fun. Thank you for joining
This
me.
is quite a game.
It is. It's quite a game. But yeah,
Hello to people,
yes.
and goodbye to people.
Yes. I'm glad that I could have a nice, roughly 4 hours of having fun with my girlfriend and all of you. Thank you all very much for watching. We will see you all next time for more Counterfeit Monkey, assuming that there is time on next Saturday. If not, more Power Rangers.
Bye.
Bye.